So welcome officially to Sally, Jackie, Susie. Thanks for those shares. Some really good stuff, which is not on YouTube. So if you want to get that, you need to join us in the Telegram group. So let's have a look at our quote for the day, and a bit of teaching around that, and then we'll go into our lesson from Course in Miracles workbook. Okay, so let me just all right, so share my screen. Okay. So Susie, if you can read the quote for us.
It is a mistake to look too far ahead. Only one link of the chain of destiny can be handled at a time. Winston Churchill.
Very appropriate, I think, given what we just talked about. So it's really a succinct summary of the teachings of A Course in Miracles and how to find your destiny or your higher purpose. Or in the light of the quote, how to let it find you one moment at a time. Which again shows the truth is both universal and timeless. So, Winston Churchill's tapping into the same truth. If you've ever been on a hike, you probably had the experience of looking too far ahead. Have you ever had that? In walking, you look and then you or done it, and then you kick a stone or something, and you kind of have a little trip, maybe you even fell over. Because you weren't focused on what was immediately ahead of you. You looked up, you were looking ahead. Oh, that would be nice to go there, and then you trip over. So in the same way, if you're driving, you drive the next 100 meters of the road. You're not thinking a kilometer or two down the road. You just do what's immediately in front of you. And if you keep doing that, eventually you'll get to your destination. So the risk in life is you focus too far ahead. You start going into the future, you take your eye off the present, what's happening, and then you stumble because your attention is in the future rather than in the past, rather than right here, right now. So it's essential, if you're going to let this chain of destiny unfold for you, to focus your attention on the step in your life that you're currently taking. So in other words, be fully present moment by moment, or you risk stumbling and falling. Too much orientation on the future takes you out of the now, and then you're not present, and you're actually missing the joy of life, because that's only in the present moment. And you also miss the cues. You're not able to listen and be guided moment by moment then, because you have this conditioned program running in you. It's, okay, well, I'm going there. That's my goal, and I'm one track mind, I'm focused on that, but I'm actually missing the moment. So this focus on each step, particularly important in difficult times when everything can seem confusing. You can feel the future is pretty fearful. It's a dark and foreboding menace in your mind. The best way to get through those kinds of fear episodes, as I call them, is to shine the light of your higher awareness through the dark cloud of fear by focusing all your attention on the step in your life that you're currently taking. Okay, so just be present. If you can just be present in the moment, then there's no fear. It dissipates the fear because it's just now. And there's nothing to fear right now. Even if there's a situation unfolding right now, I can deal with it now without fear. Fear is all about the future. It's all foreboding. It might or may not happen. And it takes us out of the now into the future. And then we're rooted on the timeline. So we start going out of out of the now into, just open up my timeline. The ego is always trying to take us out of the present moment, which connects us with the eternal presence that is always there, and it's trying to root us onto the timeline. It doesn't matter for the ego whether you rooted in the past and you focused on past traumas and grievances, or you focused on the future, future expectations, desires, fears, because either way, you're now very much rooted on the timeline. Your identity is a separate self, and it's kept you away from the eternal now and the pure formless awareness that you can experience in that moment. So as we flow forward on the timeline, we have to be very careful not to get sucked into the game of past future. It's just about being very very present. So how exactly do I do this, you might ask, when my mind is worrying so much about the future? So there's a session that we did a year ago, which we addressed this. So I encourage you to watch that. Kim mentioned she wasn't able to practice daily mind training lesson, and she felt a bit guilty about that. She was only managing to do a longer meditation in the morning and then listen to a shorter breath break 3 times a day. And I said, well, actually, that's pretty good. It's much better than doing no spiritual practice. So if you're doing that, encourage yourself and say, well, at least I'm doing something, rather than nothing. If you don't do it perfectly, rather just acknowledge what you are doing, and you're doing the best you can with whatever you're working with. She works a full-time job for a company, so maybe hourly is not necessarily realistic, but 3 times a day is okay. Well, so that's, acknowledge yourself, appreciate it, and that will prevent your ego or belief in separation from using your failure to practice the lessons exactly according to Yeshua's instructions, to stop you doing any spiritual practice at all. So what it wants you to do is, oh, well, you're not doing it at all. You're not doing it properly, so don't do it at all. It wants you to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the saying goes. Ego wants because it wants you to stop, because spiritual practice undoes it. So it's going to do anything to stop you from doing truly effective spiritual practices. Just recognize that that's always its motive, and then you know where it's coming from. It's pretty easy to spot it. Bailey mentioned she'd become aware that worry was a habitual pattern. At the same time, she was realizing that she doesn't need to worry about everything, and she can take more effective action and be a lot happier in the process without worry. So this is exactly what we're talking about, not being rooted on the timeline. Worry roots you onto the timeline of time and space, and it identifies you with a separate self. So the more you worry about what may happen in the future, the more you identify with the separate self that is experiencing that, and the further away from pure formless awareness and perfect love you are. And that's what all the ego is trying to do, is root you on the timeline into a personal identification, and keep you as far away as possible from true awareness. So I commented, an unworried state is the only state in which both happiness and effective action are possible. And according to the teachings of Vedanta, which is one of the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy based on the Vedas, the most ancient teachings of India, so this is thousands of years old, an unworried and therefore happy state is one of the symptoms of enlightenment. So awakening, as Deepak Chopra points out in this quote, which I think I included yesterday, but I thought I'd include it again, just because it's in this context it's useful. So Sally, would you like to read the quote for us?
According to Vedanta, there are only 2 symptoms of enlightenment, just 2 indications that a transformation is taking place within you toward a higher consciousness. The first symptom is that you stop worrying, things don't bother you anymore, you become lighthearted and full of joy. The second symptom is that you encounter more and more meaningful coincidences in your life, more and more synchronicities. And this accelerates to the point where you actually experience the miraculous.
So those are the two symptoms. The less worry, the more, that's a great sign you're on the right track. And the second one is that you encounter more and more of these coincidences, what Carl Jung called synchronicities, we call miracles. We actually start living in the flow of life, and things become very helpful. You see that life's really trying to help you, and you live in this real world, in the beneficent world, rather than in the world of hatred and attack and fear. So the reason why worrying is such a big part of awakening, the lack of worry, is because worrying takes your awareness away from the present moment, makes both the past and the future real. So if you think when you're worrying usually based on past conditioning. Oh, this happened in the past, so it may happen in the future, or something worse may happen in the future. So it roots you on to the timeline that the ego has invented, and trying to take you down onto that timeline through the ego psychological and emotional attachments. So fear, expectation, that's a big attachment, and then grievances. So Yeshua talks about idle wishes and grievances as the partners or co-makers of this world. Grievances root you in the past, the idle wishes root you in the future, and the present moment is obscured by all of that mental activity, which keeps you identified with a separate self on the timeline, heading one way towards death, ultimately. The ego doesn't tell you that, but it is a death wish. So all it's really trying to do is kill you and keep you as far away from your true awareness as possible, so that you never go back there, and the ego remains in business. So all of that is designed to block your awareness of the now, and this is the now. Could actually put that in there, the now, maybe source. Oh, there we go, I've got it, the now. So when someone like Eckhart Tolle says the now, he's actually referring to this whole domain of pure formless awareness, God, heaven, love, many names for it, knowledge, being. It's the same thing. About which Yeshua says the following, yesterday's reading from the text, section 4 of chapter 13, called The Function of Time. Really good one to read, actually, if you didn't read it. So let's ask Susie if you want to read that for us.
Now is the closest approximation of eternity that this world offers. It is in the reality of now, without past or future, that the beginning of the appreciation of eternity lies. For only now is here, and only now presents the opportunities for the holy encounters in which salvation can be found.
So in the now, in the moment, this is the, as he says, the closest approximation of eternity that we have in this world. So when we rooted in the now, we connected to our source. We're in this awareness. And within the now, then whatever is required will come. Opportunities for the holy encounters in which salvation can be found. So in the now, we open, we clear, we have encounters with other people, we open to the flow of life, miracles, synchronicities. It's the foundational awareness within which now all the experiences can unfold, that are now guided by the Holy Spirit rather than the ego. And so our journey flows forward in time in a much more functional, happier way, to the ultimate outcome, not of death, but of eternal life, of enlightenment, freeing ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, which the ego wants to keep you on. Just bypassing pure formless awareness forever. You go, when you let go of the body, become incorporeal, but the ego is still there. So you must then, you're forced to reincarnate, find another body, come into another life to play out the karma, which is just the ego's psychological and emotional attachments, to play it out again in another lifetime, in another body, another life, to keep you away. Really, all it's trying to do is keep you away from pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's its only agenda. So once you understand that game, what you should do right now becomes very clear. Stay in the moment. Stay connected to your source. If the ego is trying to pull you down onto the timeline with its various strategies, fear, desire, grievances, then let those go. Recognize that that's just part of its game. And in the letting go, you then stay rooted in the now, in your true awareness, and then your perception of the situation changes. So there's a double arrow for that reason. Your perception changes, and then you open to guidance, and other thoughts and emotions can come in to guide you in that situation with changed perception. So that what you say and do flowing forward is going to be different from what you say and do if you associate with the ego. And so your life then changes and transforms. And that's how transformation on the physical level works. It's inspired. It's always coming from the higher level, from level 1. Call this level 1. Down, the Holy Spirit is the intermediary between the levels. It's the bridge between the levels, so that it can be translated into your life, into time and space, and then your dream flows forward in a much happier way. So worry is really just another part of the death wish that is the ego or belief in separation, because worrying continuously keeps your mind bound to time, which always leads to death in the end. So time equals death. Just remember that. Whenever I'm in a time-bound consciousness, worry is time-bound, then I'm believing in a death wish. And of course, what can I expect if I buy into a death wish but death? By contrast, the Holy Spirit, or the remembrance of oneness, which remembers eternity and only operates in the now in this world, helps you to let go of your worries, allowing your natural state of joy to arise spontaneously in your mind and guide your thoughts, words, and actions. So that joy frequency is an emotion that powerfully and positively affects the quantum field in which we all seem to live. So the more joy we experience, the more inspired kind of manifestations, miracles start coming. An unworried, joyful state of mind leads directly then to the second indicator of enlightenment, that a fundamental transformation of mind, and in other words, enlightenment, is happening in a person. That more and more meaningful coincidences, what Carl Jung called synchronicities, Course in Miracles calls miracles, start happening in your life. So the worry is like level 1. Get rid of the worry. That opens the way to this joyful state of mind in which the flow, the synchronicities, the miracles start happening spontaneously. So we also did an I am breathing technique in that session. So if you want to have a listen to it, I'll guide you through that. And also through this process. So I think let's do this now, actually, because it's a nice process to really tap in to what it feels like. What does guidance feel like? What does it feel like when you're in an unworried, joyful state of mind and you're listening to guidance, as opposed to the ego, which denies that guidance and has its own ideas. So if you're open to that, let's shall we do a little meditation on that? Is that okay, Sally, Susie? With me, it'll probably take 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. I'm going to record it as a separate recording, so you have it. So just close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. So breathing in. Notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Clench your sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine that locks the energy in. You draw the energy up the spine, into your heart center, up into the crown of your head. And you pause at the top of the inhale, take another sip of air in, so it's a maximal inhale breath. And now bring to mind a situation in the past where you felt an inner nudge or a persistent urge, something that was calling you, you felt it, and you denied it. You didn't listen to it. Preferred to listen to the voice of reason. Another voice, no, don't worry about that. Or no, that's not practical. It's not realistic. You can't do that. However it came in, it was a voice that seemingly covered over that inner nudge. Just breathe in again to top yourself up with air. Just opening your mind to experience the situation, re-experience the situation by thinking the thoughts that you thought at the time, feeling the feelings, feeling the emotions you felt fully for a few moments. And breathe in and just really feel into it. So what did it feel like when you denied that voice? What was the outcome? Ask yourself what happened in the situation. How did it turn out for you? How did it turn out for others? How did you feel because of that outcome? Really try and re-experience just for a few moments those feelings, whatever the difficulty was. Maybe there was strain, there was resistance, there was fear, there was anger. Really feel those emotions. Breathe into it all again. So there is this underlying presence of pure formless awareness or the Holy Spirit that's just there, saying it's okay to just experience these feelings. They might be unpleasant or painful even, but it's okay. Now you're just going to let them go. Blow all of those out with the breath. Imagine they're releasing like a dark cloud of black smoke, leaving you out of your mouth, out of your body, out of your energy system. It's going, gone. The nothingness that it really is. Letting it all go, surrendering it all. And so you just clear of all of that. You experience what it felt like to be out of flow, to listen to the ego. Now we're going to do the opposite. So you're going to take another nice deep breath in and blowing the stomach out. Notice the chest rising, feel the energy rising up the spine. Clench the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in. Draw it up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Maximal inhale breath. Now think back to an event in your life where you felt an inner nudge, maybe even a persistent call to do something that probably would not have made rational sense at the time. And what happened when you listened to this nudge or this call. Allow yourself to really re-experience the situation again. Breathe in, top yourself up with air. The air is, and breath is an opening into deeper awareness, just allowing an open, spacious awareness within which you can re-experience the situation by thinking the thoughts. What were you thinking at the time? Try and go back in, visualize where you were, who was there, what were you seeing, what were you feeling, what were you touching, what were you tasting, smelling perhaps. Just re-experience it as vividly as possible. Think the thoughts, feel the emotions. Breathe in again if you need to top yourself up. The air and also this open, spacious awareness that allows you really to feel these emotions. What were you feeling? Feel into it for a few more moments. Now exhale. Release and just was probably a positive feeling, a good feeling. Just drop into that more. The exhale is not to let go of anything. It's to deepen into the experience. You breathe out, pull the low stomach into the spine, and just deepen in to the experience. Feel the emotions. What did it feel like? What was the outcome of that situation? I guess as the situation worked out well for you in a way that you couldn't have planned or predicted when you listened to the nudge. This is one of the hallmarks of a genuine miracle or correction. It happens without your conscious intention or planning when you choose to listen to your intuition. It is just a remembrance of perfect love or oneness. It is always guiding you to have experiences that lead you to a greater awareness of oneness or love. So take another deep breath in and raising the energy up, locking it in, your sphincter muscle, the root lock. Feel this warm energy rising into your heart. Stay in your heart center for this one. Put one hand on your heart just to connect you with that presence. And ask yourself what you learned from both experiences. How you might have spoken or acted differently in the situation where you denied your intuition in favor of the ego's reason. Just dwell on that for a few moments. Ask the question. Let any insights come. Breathe in again if you need to. Let the insights just drop into this empty, open, spacious awareness that you've created for them to come in. Stay there for a few moments. Exhale. Spend a minute in silence, letting whatever you experience integrate, download, whatever insights need to come, let them come. So just breathing in and out normally through your nose as you do this. Sit quietly and you allow the Holy Spirit just to give you the guidance from this exercise. Whatever wisdom and guidance is there, let it come now in the next minute or so of silence. So just gently coming back from this deep connected state, hopefully with some insight. And you're going to open your eyes on the count of 3. So 1, just take another deep breath in. Notice breath flowing in to the nostrils, stomach rising, chest rising. Pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. You scan your mind, just notice anything going on there. Any kind of negative thoughts or emotions, you just notice them and let them go with the breath. Exhale. Count of 2, notice the air flowing out, chest and the stomach suck back in. Feel the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands touching, subtle taste in your mouth, perhaps a smell in your nose. Just breathe in again. Notice any subtle sensations, any thoughts. Maybe there's just empty, spacious awareness. Appreciate that if that's there. Know that whatever you needed to get from the exercise has been downloaded. It's now incorporated into your mind. You have the wisdom, you have the guidance going forward to help you to stay in tune with the Holy Spirit, to listen to its voice and its guidance only, and identify the ego and ignore it when it comes calling, trying to get you to listen to its insane wishes. So it is said, so it is done. And now on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take 30 seconds to look around, ground yourself back in, noticing the various objects in the room. It's quiet, connected state, no judgment. Notice that the state of mind this meditation has put you in is a state that you could operate in consistently. So not a lot of thought, very quiet, very calm. But if you need to think, you can. If you need guidance, it can come in to this spacious awareness you've created to guide you. And this is where Yeshua leaves us. This holy instant, this moment would I give to you. Be you in charge. Or I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. If you need a word, it will come. If you need a thought, it will come as well. If you need just stillness, tranquil, open mind, then that's what you'll experience. Because this presence is in charge by your request from now on. And it will hear and answer you. Because it speaks for pure formless awareness, perfect love, your source, and its pure extension, which is you, your true mind. And so it is. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the little meditation on intuition, accessing your intuition. So would anyone like to share anything related to that?
For me, it was really interesting because I couldn't access the time when I thought of something, I took the guidance and didn't follow it. I couldn't get there. And I know I've done this exercise a few times. So I know there are times when I've not followed guidance, I could not access it at all today. And then the positive guidance one, again, I couldn't go back in time and find somewhere where I had found it. Because again, I know there are times that I've done this with before, but in the present moment, what I recognized was I've been having guidance this morning, and it kind of just registered that this guidance that I've been having is real guidance. You know, it's not just a thought, oh, I'll do that, or that's a good idea. Guidance, and I was contemplating, shall I do that or not? You know, I've had the guidance a few times pop in, I'll wait and see. But that meditation just kind of made it clear. No, you know, that's guidance. Just do it. Don't question it. Don't wait. Just do it right now.
Good.
that was a different experience, but maybe this inverted birthing thing that happened has made it so I can't access the old me. But anyway.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. If you start erasing the timeline and you forget it, then maybe some of those memories are just like, conceptually, they're there. I suppose if you really thought about them, you could bring them up. But it's like you erasing all of that. That whole program is past conditioned program of Sally, the separate self, is just being erased. So it stands to reason then that it's not that accessible anymore. It's like, okay, well, it's not that useful, perhaps. The only reason we do it is because it's useful as a reference, as a learning. To go, okay, yeah, there was a time I can feel those emotions. Okay, I can now recognize the difference between them. You've done this, we did it last year, I remember. You've done this exercise before, so it's a progression. Like, okay, well, maybe it's the more advanced version, which is just, okay, this is what it feels like. This is what guidance feels like. Yes, that's guidance. I recognize that's the purpose of the exercise, to recognize what it feels like to be guided. Because if you know the feeling, then you can listen to the Holy Spirit rather than the ego. If you don't know, you get confused between them, then the ego's got every chance of coming in and confusing you and hijacking your mind. Yeah. So Susie, anything for you came up?
Apart from very good, yay!
Yay!
Yeah, really good actually. Quick, simple. As soon as you got into the old space, it was more resistance. So that was a huge telling it's not guidance. And then obviously the second time round, it was just that whole contentment of just being right here, right now. And it's amazing that you can experience all of this in just one, it wasn't a long time that we had.
15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So it was good, but yeah, I could feel my shoulders come up and all sorts. There's obviously I've lived my life in a lot of resistance, but it was very nice, very comforting, a very warm feeling as well for the contentment. So yeah, very good.
So reference, use that as a reference experience.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like. If I'm not sure, now I've got a reference. I know what that feels like, and I know what the ego feels like. Okay, so now reference, and if then you've got clarity on any decision. Okay, so where's it coming from? What does it feel like? Okay, but remember, you did the exercise. You can repeat it. I've sent you the recording, so if you want to, save it, so that you know what it feels like, because that's how you make the decision. Does it feel right, or does it feel the stressing, straining, striving, sort of inturbulated feeling of the ego? And if you
the
difference, that's huge.
One thing I noticed was that normally, or I can only speak for now, but normally when you do something like that, it could take quite a while just to shift, but it was quick. And I just couldn't believe it's all happened within that 5-10 minutes. There's a difference. There was a huge difference. Normally it takes all day, because you're not in the right frame or whatever. But the secret is to be in the now, like you said. Because and it was amazing how there wasn't any thoughts or anything. It was just being here, being present, like letting go of just the conversation you just had. Just get in. That's it.
Yeah, and then it feels pretty contented and guided, and a happy. There's a happiness, there's a peace there, and you can feel the difference. And this is what the ego fears, because if you know the difference, then you can make the right decision in any situation. It's game over. It's got no traction. It can't convince you anymore. It can't fool you. So that's why it resists this kind of mind training, for all its worth, because its entire existence is based on its resistance to this. So yeah, useful exercise, use it as a reference. There's the meditation I've given you, 15 minutes, you can download it, you can listen to it again. If you've got a decision to make, then it's useful maybe to do the exercise again. So, okay, so let me just get into that reference the past. What did it feel like? That's going to give you clarity on your current decision.
Mm.
And there's other tools, inspired decision making exercise 10, I think, that we did in the course is also a useful one.
Yes, I love that
A
one.
long one, you need a partner for.
Mm.
Oh, we can actually do that at some point if you want to. Just let me know. So we never actually did it in our last session. Okay, so let's go back to our screen share. Any other thoughts on that to share on that exercise? Listening to guidance. Okay, so where are we? Here, so we are. So that brings us to the end of that session, because we actually did this in the session, so we just recreated that. This is much more powerful live. And that's really why I encourage people to join live, because it's going to be much more powerful doing it live than if you listen to a recording. But there's some good stuff in this recording, so listen to it if you can. Consistently tapping into guidance, living in the dimension of miraculous synchronicity. And that brings us to our lesson for the day. So let's jump into that. Susie, I think if you can read the key idea in the original alternative form, and then we'll jump into the lesson itself.
My part is essential to God's plan for salvation. The alternative, my part is essential to perfect love's plan for awakening.
Okay, so let's go into that. So if you want to read paragraph 1 in the original, and then the alternative line by line.
Just as God's Son completes his Father, so your part in it completes your Father's plan. Just as perfect love's extension completes its source, so my part in it completes my source's plan. Bit too wordy there for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily trip over them. I can understand why I never used to get it last year.
Just as perfect love's extension completes its source, so my part in it completes my source's plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So analogy of perfect love's extension. We are the completion of the source, the logical extension of the source. So my part in it completes my source's plan. So there's a plan for awakening that is now it's coming from the source, and the Holy Spirit is the instrument of that plan unfolding in our minds. Okay, I'm just going to record this quickly. So number 2.
Number 2, salvation must reverse the mad belief in separate thoughts and separate bodies, which lead separate lives and go their separate ways. Awakening must reverse my mad belief in separate thoughts and separate bodies, which lead separate lives and go their separate ways.
Just talking about the the crazy world we live in. Everyone's got their own identity, different bodies, leading separate lives, going separate ways. This is the world we live in, seemingly. And this is a mad belief that this is even possible.
One function shared by separate minds unites them in one purpose, for each of them is equally essential to them all. One function shared by separate minds unites them in one purpose, for each one of them is equally essential to them all.
Yeah. So each mind is actually part of the one mind. And if we have the same function, can you see how unifying that is? We have the same purpose. We have the same function. Well, we can't disagree that. Separation is done. And my function is the same as yours. We're all here to awaken to our source. It's the same source. We have the same function. We must then be of one mind. How can we disagree if we have the same purpose? Disagreements come when people don't have the same function. They've got other purposes going on in their minds, and then you get the ego's disagreement, and that fosters separation, and then the belief in separate thoughts and separate bodies, which lead separate lives and go their separate ways, is seemingly perpetuated. Okay, you want to give a little summary of that in your own words, and then we'll go on to number 2.
To live as to be as one, isn't it? To yeah.
Just the essence, like what I want in the summary really is, what's the key idea? What is he really saying in that paragraph?
And I've gone blank. It is to follow true love, isn't it? Perfect love's way. There is no other way. There is no split mind if you follow that way. The awakening is essential for that purpose.
And the key point is we share the same function, which is awakening.
Yeah, and there's only one
all
mind,
of the
isn't there?
same
There is no, yeah. It's all the same.
If everyone said, I have only one purpose in this world, and that's awakening, there would be no disagreement. We couldn't disagree on anything because we have the same purpose. The ego splits us and says, oh no, you've got another purpose, you've got another function, and gives separate purposes and functions to all the individual people seemingly living their separate lives, and then they disagree. It's chaos. Everyone's doing their own thing, going their separate ways. No one's agreeing with anyone else. There's lots of conflict. So the one function unifies us in the one mind, and then we have to start perceiving that we are one rather than separate bodies leading separate lives, going our separate ways. Okay, so happy with that. I'm just going to leave it recording actually. So number 2, Sally.
God's will for you is perfect happiness. Do the alternative, we roll it down a bit.
Yeah.
Perfect love's awareness for you is perfect happiness.
It would make sense. It's an awareness. And when you're in that awareness, the awareness for you is perfect happiness. It's God's awareness, perfect love's awareness for you will bring you the experience of perfect happiness when you're in that awareness. The experiences to get there sometimes aren't perfect happiness as you've experienced, but the end result is always that, isn't it? When you're in that blissful state, what can you say? It's perfectly happy. There's nothing going wrong, nothing the matter.
Why should you choose to go against his will? Why should I choose to go against its awareness? Well, the only time we go against it is when we're scared, isn't it? That we want to stay in control as the ego.
Go against, or should we, just thinking of translation, why should I choose to deny its awareness? You think that's better than go against?
Like go against. I think that how it used to be for me, that
no,
I was scared. I was scared that Source's plan for me, or Perfect Love's plan for me, was against what I wanted to do. I never used to understand. I never used to feel able to totally trust it. Felt
Yeah.
too scary. It felt like I had to be in control and make my own
Yeah.
decisions. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was you had a sense of going against. Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave the language. Okay, number 3.
number 3, the part that he has saved for you to take in working out his plan is given you that you might be restored to what he wills. Oh dear, it's written in such a weird way.
I know. Well,
Let's try the
translation.
sensible version.
Yeah.
The part that it has reserved for me to take in working out its plan is given to me so that my awareness is restored to what it is aware of. Yeah.
Makes, so my awareness is restored to what it is aware of. I become aware of what it's aware of. That's what he means. So what's the original? And you might be restored to what he wills. So what he wills is what it is aware of. The will of God is this awareness, rather than the danger of the will word is that it's like, a specific goal or intention sort of seems to come to mind, doesn't it? In our egoic interpretation of that. Whereas this is saying it's just you become aware of what it's aware of, which is this open, expansive, infinite potential. And then from that state, you receive the guidance in specific form. That's the Holy Spirit's job, is to interpret this higher awareness into some specific practical ideas, things you can act on.
Following his will always used to feel like this big man in the sky that told you what to do, and he's like a scary father, and he's not out there for your best good.
Yeah. Well, it's an authority problem, isn't it? It's like, this I don't want to be controlled by this seemingly external force. He wills. So now I've got a boss, this great big boss in the sky somewhere that's going to tell me what to do. Whereas, you translate it and it's your awareness. This is your own deepest awareness. That's the authentic you. That's very different. That's now not someone controlling me. That's my own deepest awareness that only wants my highest good, guiding me for my highest good. Well, it's a different matter entirely. So, that's why we translate, I think, because this language really doesn't lend itself to surrender. So it's like, okay, well, it feels like I'm just going to be controlled by some other entity that's outside of me. Who's the he?
It always felt like it was my father, and there was no way I was going to go with that one.
No. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm in the same position. So change the language, because the father idea, I understand why it was used when Yeshua taught 2,000 years ago. That was a way of explaining to people, okay, well, I can reference to something, father, okay, like my father, we all have an experience of having human father. So he used the language to try and help them to maybe understand what he was saying. Okay, there's a father on a higher level. But I think it benefits a lot from translation. Those original terms just tend to, for most people in a modern world, will not. It's not going to make it easier for them. It's going to make it harder for them to surrender to this presence. And we don't want to make it hard. We want to make it as easy as possible. So, hence the translations. Okay, so number 4.
This part is essential to his plan as to your happiness. This part is essential to its plan as to my happiness. Your joy must be complete to let his plan be understood by those to whom he sends to you.
He sends you.
Or he sends, yeah.
He doesn't put in the 2 there, but he sends to you. is the implication.
My joy must be complete to let its plan be understood by those to whom it sends me.
Is that correct? Let's just see. We got that. Joy must be complete to let his plan be understood by those to whom he sends you. Yeah. So he's sending me to people, understood by those to whom it sends me. So it's going to send you to various people. You've already experienced that today, because some people are joining your workshop and others aren't. So it's now sending you to that workshop to deliver a message.
And it works both ways, doesn't it? It sends us somewhere and it sends others to us.
And I wanted to ask, do these italics add value? I mean, is it useful having like the translated italicized, or if it was just in plain gray text, would that be better? What do you think?
I don't think I've really noticed, actually. I think I
Right.
did in the beginning. I realized it in the beginning, but now it just blends in.
So it was helpful maybe to start with, to see what was translated. Susie, what do you feel? Because like I'm sort of in two minds really. It's like, do we keep the italicization, or because I've now, you see, I'm changing it that it's personalized as well, but I haven't italicized the personalization. So I'm like, well, that's because that's happening all the time. I've just italicized the bits that are, but then you started to, it was like, well, why not just go?
Yeah.
Is that clean to read?
I'd go like that myself now. Yeah. Susie.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, because I didn't really realise really, and until you've just said just now. So
just the clean one you think you prefer?
Yeah.
Like it is now.
Yes.
Okay, well that's I'll do it like that in future. The see, the AI that I use, it italicization is a mission, because then you've got to go, and it's a text, so you've got to go and italicize it. Whereas if I just stick it in, it does this. I copy and paste it in, done. I don't have to go and fiddle around with italicizing. So oh, okay, that's useful to know. Thank you for that. Sorry, back to the text.
To the original.
Yeah, so number 6.
They will see their function in your shining face and hear God calling to them in your happy laugh. That's funny. Okay.
And you're laughing. Why is it funny?
It's so true, but it's funny. I don't know.
No. See their function in my shining face. And there is, I mean, that's a good word, isn't it? Because you do sort of shine with the inner light. When you're in this presence, there is a kind of a shining through that happens.
And a lot of people that are in enlightenment, they're quite giggly, aren't they? There's a real lightness to them, and they just laugh, and then you laugh with them, and you're in light with them.
Yeah, it's all very, very light and airy and free. Yeah. So that's what'll happen tonight. You go in there, they'll see your function. You don't just have to show up in your shining face and laugh, and they will they're getting the message. That's what he's saying. Have to preach necessarily. Okay, it's a workshop. You've got to some there's going to be some content, I guess, that's shared, but more importantly is to show up in the presence. Let the presence shine through you, and people just pick up on that. And it happens whether you're physically present or just on Zoom. It's a communication mechanism. People will pick up on your energy.
They will see their function in my shining face and hear pure formless awareness of perfect love calling to them in my happy laugh.
So the source is calling to them through you. You just become the agent of it in that encounter. And then your joy is complete because you are the source. The complete source just is transmitting through you to them. Okay, so I'm going to summarize paragraph 2 first. What's he saying there? Just a really like a key idea.
Why would you go against being able to be happy, joyful, and shining? Just follow the plan.
And others will see, you know, if you're following the guidance, you don't need to really worry too much about what to say, what to do. So they will just see their function because they want what you have. They look at you and they go, I want whatever Sally's on, I want some of that. And then you've got their attention and they're listening, and so you just show up, and then the spirit will do it. Whatever needs to be said or done will be said and done from the presence of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, it's funny when you look at somebody that's in this state and you kind of look at them and you go, yeah, I like what you've got, but I don't know how you've got there. And, you know, give me some of that. Can you tell me how to get there?
Yeah. And so that's, you know, that's the calling for people. They see you and they're like, okay, I want what you have. I want that shining. I want that radiance. I want the peace. Okay, I want whatever you've got, whatever you're on, I'll have some of that. So okay, I'm listening. I'm open. So then it's by example that you're teaching. I remember there's a classic scene in of humor. I think it was When Harry Met Sally. One of the movies, and she was basically faking an orgasm in the restaurant. Remember that?
That was
And
that
then
one.
the one woman says, the waiter takes, I'll have whatever she's having. Whatever she had, I'll have that. So it's that because people want the state. They want the the happy, ecstatic state. Everyone's seeking that. So you just show up in that state, and that's the best advertising and marketing you can do, and teaching. When people went to see Ramana, and say, I don't really have anything to say. Just sit in the silence with me. And they would just sit for however long, even 10 minutes in his presence. And they would feel the ego dissipating and the joy coming. And that was his teaching. Just sit in the presence with me. Because he was so rooted in it, he pulled people into it with him. So they would sit in his presence and they would go, oh, wow. I come away and I'm just feeling like on another level. And that was his teaching in the stillness and the silence. So maybe you just do a silent meditation. Who knows? Ask for the guidance. Okay, so number 3, Susie, if you can read that for us.
You are indeed essential to God's plan. I am indeed essential to perfect love's plan. Without your joy, his joy is incomplete. Without my joy, his joy is incomplete. Without your smile, the world cannot be saved. Without my smile, the world cannot be awakened. While you are sad, the light that God himself appointed as the means to save the world is dim and lustless, and no one laughs because all laughter can but echo yours. Without my smile, the world cannot be awakened. While I am sad, the true awakeness that pure formless awareness of perfect love itself appointed as the means to awaken the world is dim and lustrous, and no one laughs because all laughter can only echo mine. It's a really nice paragraph, isn't it?
Yeah. What's he saying there?
You're messing about all your life. All you've got to do is laugh, and you know, the world laughs with you. It's actually saying that the only thing you have to follow is joy, peace, happiness.
So it's the feeling. You lead with the feeling. It's a state, which is a feeling, a state of mind. And when you're in that state, then you guide it. When we're in a joyful state, what we think and what we say and what we do is naturally going to be very different from the ego is dim and lusterless. How about lackluster, shall we say? Dim and lackluster.
Yeah.
Kind of like, that we've all been there, kind of a bit flat. There's like not really much inspiration, low energy, not shining your light, quite serious, heavy. Saying, well, then that's what you're putting out into the mind, the one mind we share. So if you are, in this serious, somber state, then no one laughs, because all laughter can only echo mind. You're then perpetuating the ego's thought system in the world rather than the Holy Spirit's. Okay, happy with number 3? Number 4.
Indeed essential to God's plan. I am indeed essential to perfect love's plan for awakening. Just as your light increases every light that shines in heaven, so your joy on earth calls to all minds to let their sorrows go and take their place beside you in God's plan. Just as my true awareness increases every mind's awareness of the state of pure formless awareness, so my joy on earth calls to all minds to let their sorrows go and take their place beside me in perfect love's plan. How beautiful. God's messages are joyous, and their joy heals sorrow and despair. Perfect love's messages are joyous, and their joy heals sorrow and despair. They are the proof that God wills perfect happiness for all who will accept their Father's gifts as theirs. They are the proof that pure formless awareness of perfect love is aware of perfect happiness for all who will accept their source's gifts as theirs. Wow.
So it's aware of it for us. Perfect happiness lies in its awareness. All we got to do is tap into it. It's there. It's already aware of it. We've just blocked ourselves from experiencing that awareness. I don't have to try and do something to make myself happy. This is the ego's idea. Do what makes you happy. No, it's already there for me in my awareness. I just have to remove the blocks to that awareness. A very different mindset, isn't it? The one is, I've got to do something to make myself happy. The other one's, no, I'm already happy. It's already there in my awareness, and I've just got to access it.
Not out there.
The one is based on denial, saying it's not there, and I've got to go and try and find it outside of myself. The other one's, it's already there. I've just got to uncover it and reveal it. And it's a subtle, but it's a very profound difference, because the one is going to put you in the ego's domain of seeking and never finding the answer, never really finding happiness. And the other will systematically and progressively uncover what's already there and start to help you experience it more and more, because it's already there. Just have to, like an archaeologist, you got to dig and just excavate and uncover the treasures that are already there. You don't have to go and seek for them elsewhere.
And to know that you never lost it, that seeking is when you think you've lost something, isn't it? So it's really recognizing that you never lost anything, which I think is quite cool.
Yeah. So you see the wisdom in, the Buddha's teaching. Don't crave. You're craving, you're desiring. What you're saying in the desire is that I don't have it. That's the message you're giving your mind. I don't have this. So therefore I need to go seek it. So then it's endless seeking and never finding, because the more you seek, the more you're telling your mind, I don't have it. It's crazy, but that's the insane system that the ego sponsors. The more I desire it, the more I'm telling myself I don't have it.
Yeah, the searching itself actually covers over pure formless awareness.
So it's trying to convince you that you really, really want it and you're searching for it, but actually in the searching, you're denying it. Very cunning. And the more you search and the more craving you have, the more you deny that which you already have. Yeah. And the Buddha realized this experientially because he did 7 years of intense searching. I mean, he was a spiritual seeker par excellence. He searched and he searched. He went throughout northern India. He went to every teacher. He tried every meditation technique, every spiritual practice. He fasted, like 1 grain of rice for, I don't know, months, years, to the point where he almost killed himself. The body was just so weak that it was ready to expire. And then he realized the searching and searching and searching is not getting me anywhere. I'm actually no closer to enlightenment. I'm further away. And when he finally let go of that and just dropped the search, he realized, well, it was already there. It was always there. And
you have to go through that, though, don't you? You have to go through that process to make sure that the search is complete before you go inwards and go, okay, here it is.
Well, we can, we don't have to do what he did. We can learn from his experience. You don't have to go to the lengths he did to get it. And you can go, okay, well, there's a principle there. It's like searching and searching and searching is not going to work. You're never going to find the answer because of that. It's the noble truths of Buddhism. So yes, let me accept that. Practically speaking, I think most people have to have done some of that searching outside to come to the point where they're ready to accept it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like hearing it and going, I acknowledge that is the truth, but I have to go through that process myself because that's how I learn.
Yeah. And realizing, that actually I am searching. We don't always realize. So the theory is one thing, but I don't realize that, let's say I'm desiring a new job or a new partner, or that's part of the searching. Because it's so insidious. It's just so normal for human beings to have these desires. Oh, yeah, I'd like this and I'd like that. But you don't realize that's part of the seeking, searching, and not finding mechanism of the ego.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was still searching. I thought I'd kind of toned that right down to nearly not needing anything. But there's definitely a search there. I realized. And the first step is recognizing the search, isn't it? Recognizing that you are searching.
That I'm still searching outside of myself.
It's futile. Absolutely.
And it's never going to work. The new whatever, the new business, the new partner, the new relationship, the new car, the new, people are, that's what our whole world economy is based on, searching. People are seeking, and then, they use money to attain their desires. And it doesn't work. They're still craving. Then it's, well, this didn't work, so get the next thing and the next thing. And so, endless consumption and never really finding joy in that. It's there's no joy in the consumer, seeking mode of operating, because we've all done it. And we just have to observe the way the world works. And you go, well, there's no joy there. In fact, marketers are very clever. They work on dissatisfaction. They know, the dissatisfaction is the leverage to get people to buy. Because you've got dissatisfaction. Okay, so we go into your pain point, we get you to recognize that, and then I present the solution. If you buy my product or service, then your dissatisfaction will go.
That's
And
why it's so
people-
difficult to advertise this sort of work, though, isn't it? Because you can't guarantee any gold. You don't want to point out the lack, make it worse than it already is. So it's a difficult one
you
to
can speak to someone's
these sorts
genuine pain. You can say your pain point, spiritual pain point, is that you feel disconnected from your source. You feel separate. You feel alone. You know, all these are all the symptoms. Would you really like to heal that? No, you genuinely, you really want peace, love, and joy in your life. If you do, then here's a way. But it's not something outside of you that's going to do that. You know, all this program does is facilitate a process for you to go within, let go of all of your seeking outside of yourself and all the blocks that you've put in place, and go on your own journey, because to find what's already there.
And does conscious living, does that not sell now? If people want, I mean, years ago when I was doing some marketing, they did say use word conscious or something, because that's what people are after. But
conscious living, I don't know. I think it's more, for me, it's more experiential than that. It's like conscious living is too conceptual. It's like,
yeah, but it's the only way to get people in sometimes. I think that's what they were trying to say. It's the language that we use and how
do you feel moment by moment? You know, do you feel resistance? Do you feel sad? Do you feel upset a lot? Do you feel fearful? Do you feel anxious? You know, these are the people's issues. Okay, well, yeah, you can talk to that. Then you can say, but there is a way out. There's a genuine way out of all of this. You know, if you open, here we go, join our masterclass, invite them in to start a process. It's not a quick fix, but you start this process, and inevitably you are going to be undoing all of that. And then you're either willing or you're not. You do the first 3 weeks. Okay, you're willing to take it further, or is that it? You don't really want to. So yeah, nice one. Sally, do you want to summarize that? Did you summarize number 4? I can't remember.
That's a long time ago, wasn't it?
Time.
Conversation.
Yes, time, wasn't it? It's all now. Yeah, we're all part of the awakening process. And every time we're aware of pure formless awareness, we create that vibration, that state on the planet, and share it with others.
Joy, sharing joy. It's a very powerful. Joy is the most powerful manifestation energy. And if you stay in joy, that energy, that frequency is what leads to manifestation and miracles. Coming from this joyous state, it's because it's a positive kind of extension. The joy wants to be shared. It's kind of got this quality of peace. I'm just content being at peace in my own space, sitting there. The joy is it's got this uplifting, extending quality, doesn't it? Well, that's how I feel it. It's like wants to extend and share, and so that's an energy that inspires action. Often it's like, well, I want to share it, so I'll do something to share it. I'll connect with someone. I'll do a webinar. I'll whatever. It's like because it wants to work through you and extend into the world. Okay, happy with number 4.
Yeah.
Number 5.
We will not let ourselves be sad today. I will not let myself be sad today. For if we do, we fail to take the part that is essential for God's plan as well as to our vision. For if I do, I fail to take the part that is essential to perfect love's plan, as well as to my true perception. Sadness is the sign that you would play another part instead of what has been assigned to you by God. Sadness is the sign that I choose to play another part instead of what has been assigned to me by pure formless awareness of perfect love. Thus do you fail to show the world how great the happiness He wills for you. Thus do I fail to show the world how great the happiness that it brings you is. And so you do not recognize that it is yours. And so I do not recognize that it is mine. Did you do that on purpose to make me feel really good about myself?
What?
That's really said a lot to me, because isn't that a shame that if we've all got this, and you've been doing it for a while, to understand this, to really get it in, and then you've been following, another way, believing it's not here, it's not yours, because of the sad story, obviously, but.
So any sadness is the canary in the coal mine, in the gold mine, to say, okay, that's the ego trying to come back in.
So can you now, if you, it's really good being here and listening to what you're saying, but so you're saying to me, if you wake up and you feel sad, you have to change it straight away, like they do in the law of attraction, stuff like that, because it looks like I've avoided pain or whatever, or being hurt for that reason, and yet now I've had to go and feel it to heal it or whatever, and now.
Yeah, it's a sign, okay, I don't want to stay in this. So you might go into it a bit more deeply as part of the healing process. Okay, so let's, instead of glossing over it, let's like really look at this. Why is it coming? You feel the emotion. You dig into the reason. Maybe it's because of a past trauma. Maybe it's just, sometimes you're just sad. It's kind of the sadness of the world, because actually nothing here is going to last. Everyone's getting older. Yesterday I went to a function with my parents, my old school. And so I saw people I haven't seen for years, 10, 20, 30 years sometimes. So I was there, 32 years ago. And everyone had aged. Of course, that's what happens. Everyone ages. And you see the kind of this decay in people's physical appearance. It's like, and I'm the only one who hasn't aged. One guy said to me, "You look exactly like you were 20 years ago." I'm like, yeah, well, I guess. I mean, I couldn't explain why, but I'm like, it's a timeless, ageless sort of quality that comes in when you do this work. But don't be sad at the decay of the world.
And you're frozen. Why am I frozen?
No, neither of you seem frozen to me.
No?
Must be me.
Maybe it's Susie's connection. So it's very easy, and you look at the decay of the world. People age, they get old, they die, to be sad because you've apparently lost something. But actually nothing's been lost, in truth. It's always, you just remember, none of this is real. I see my parents, they're aging, they're going to die at some point in the next 10 years probably. And you could be very sad at that and go, well, the form is decaying, they're not what they once were, they're not as my dad's walking with a walker now. And you can be sad at that, or you can go, but none of that which is decaying, that which is seemingly being lost, was ever real.
I'm so sorry, we did lose connection then, because I ended going off, and you're both frozen there looking at me, and I was laughing my tits off, but you guys were just explaining whatever you explained. Now I've come off and come back on again, and you're still talking about sound. I'm thinking, right, okay.
There's a lesson there. Yeah. No, just sharing that experience. Like, well, don't get attached to the form.
Mm,
You know, the story
mm,
of my. And in the end, it's your story that you're sad about.
mm,
The story of, oh well, we had these experiences, and once it was, you know, people were younger and the world was better. Now it's all kind of, it's all a bit degraded and decaying and aging, and that's the story of the ego.
But what I was saying is, so when we start waking up now and you do get into that place of being sad, obviously now it's true, isn't it? It's obvious that spirit doesn't even look at sad as anything, just looks at joy. Sad is when you're going down a separate route of being. That's what I meant. As soon as you wake up and you sense that, is it okay just to think? Because obviously when I'd released my book, I had post-traumatic stress, and I had to go and see somebody about the EDMR, where they were doing all that stuff with your fingers and eyes. And he did say to me, just be careful, because I think you have which was true, a coping mechanism of being grateful straight away. So then I felt like now for like 4 years, I think I've been doing the opposite now, really going into why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, or don't even know why. Or what, I'm not even aware of it half the time. So that's all I'm asking, that now we have this awareness. As you wake up, you then make that choice that, that spirit, whoever's the guidance, is not sad, is not whatever, just only knows joy. Anything else is the belief in separation. Just keep moving.
Yeah, very much so. So it's not that you metaphysically ghost over these emotions. Oh well, no, it comes in.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it. There's a process. I acknowledge it. Okay, let's feel it. What's the sadness about? Try and get to the root of it. But then you let it go. It's the process that you're engaging in, not to wallow in it, but to bring it into conscious awareness and release it as quickly as possible. Why do you want to be sad for one moment longer than necessary? So suffering is only necessary until you realize
do you think that's quite contradictory then? I will not let myself be sad today, because obviously sad is just going to show up.
Yeah, so he's saying if it shows up, then acknowledge it, but release it. You don't want to stay there. Some people really, they love these emotions. They go into sadness and they'll stay there. So, oh no, I'm just in my sad state and I need to honor that. And they might stay there for the whole day or maybe many days. Depressed people are sad all the time. So they've allowed that state to just become their default state. So he's saying, you'll get tempted. You'll have these emotions like sadness or fear, or frustration or anger, but don't dwell there. Just recognize it and then release it with the truth of the lesson for the day will do it. You can use the 10-step process if it's a deeper issue. Could use the instrument for peace. You've got the tools. You know what to do. It's just an intention to say, I need to let this go. I'm not going to dwell on this, because it's a sign that I choose to play another part. I'm really saying that I'm playing another part. I'm not now playing my part in the plan for at-one-ment. I'm playing my part in the plan for depression and sadness and misery and death, which is not really a part you want to play. And our responsibility as the miracle workers is to show the world how great the happiness is that this has brought you. You just have to show up in your joy. So, Sally, all you need to do tonight is show up in your joy. That's it. Show up as that happy, underlying it peaceful, but peaceful, kind of vibrant. Eckhart describes peace, joy as vibrantly alive peace. And you show up in this vibrantly alive peace, and you let that just direct the show. And that, because it's the energy then that is then directing it, and whatever happens on the level of form will happen because of that joyful energy and presence. And so maybe it's a chance. You've been rebirthed into this new self. It's a chance to let that self now actually direct things. Say, okay, I'm resigning. The Sally show is no longer. This is now, the enlightened self, the true self that's going to do it in this really peaceful, joyful, loving way, and see how it directs you. So you're not really doing it. You're just the instrument, the body showing up, going, okay, well, it's the presence, that's going to do all of this. Speak through me, work through me, act through me. You do it, and then you will demonstrate the joy, and that's the best example for people. That's going to inspire them the most. Yeah, I want some of what you have, therefore I must listen to you and follow what you're saying. Okay, so happy with number 5?
Yeah.
Joyful with number 5? Ecstatic with number 5? Number 6.
Today we will attempt to understand joy is our function here. Today I will attempt to understand that joy is my function here. If you are sad, your part is unfulfilled, and all the world is thus deprived of joy along with you. If I am sad, my part is unfulfilled, and so all the world is deprived of joy along with me. God asks you to be happy so the world can see how... Oh, you moved the goalpost. God asks you to be happy so the world can see how much he loves his son and wills no sorrow rises to abate his joy. No fear besets him to disturb his peace. Pure formless awareness, perfect love asks me to be happy so the world can see how much it loves its extension and is aware of no sorrow rising to limit my joy, and no fear besetting me to the next bit. Disturb my peace.
Okay, so any thoughts on that? What's he saying there in summary?
Finished it, yeah, got some more.
Okay.
You are God's messenger today. I am perfect love's messenger today. You bring his happiness to all you look upon, his peace to everyone who looks on you and sees his message in your happy face. I bring its happiness to all I perceive, and its peace to everyone who perceives me and sees its message in my happy face. It's remembering that our function is joy, and to share joy, be joy. And it raises the joy with everyone we perceive.
Hmm.
And that's the message through our physical vessel.
Yeah. Through us, the joy comes into the world.
Yeah. There was a really good clip that somebody shared. Perhaps I could put it on the Art of Letting Go one, where it describes oneness, and it's like a blanket of oneness, and each of us pops up under this blanket, not realizing that we're all this one blanket. That was quite good. This reminded me of that.
Yeah, do share it. So it's not saying anything that's new. I mean, this is ancient stuff, that you should be happy. Loving kindness is how you extend your happiness into the world. Be the example, be the way shower. But to actually do it is another matter, isn't it? To actually live this way, get out of your self-concept and the sadness and whatever else the self-concept wants you to feel, and just experience this deep joy. That's the well, that's the art, isn't it? That's the art of letting go. That's what we're studying. to actually do this. So you have a perfect opportunity tonight to practice. Perfect. You do a session, you've downloaded, and look at how quickly the Holy Spirit works. It gives you a rebirthing experience. So that was this morning. Then you go through some processing in the day, you do the session, and then by the evening, you're ready to extend it out.
Well, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I'm ready. You'll be
There
fine.
still feels like a wobbliness and a raw vulnerability.
Mm,
But I guess that's just openness, isn't it? And boundary
mm, yeah.
I'm not used to, maybe.
You're forgetting though, Sally. You're forgetting, Sally. It's going to happen whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Because you still can't see that true essence of you, where I can see it clearly, and obviously Jono can. You've got it, but there's just these little bits about you which you better forget about that now, because it's just going to happen.
Yeah, it's the final letting go, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
like, all right, okay.
But I don't even think you have to worry about that. I don't think you're worried. Don't get me wrong. That's not even there, is it? Really, you've just got to play yourself tonight and not even. It's like going into that moment and just letting everything go of the day and just going with it, because that's what's going to happen for you.
I thought I was doing it, but today's a different day.
Yeah, but you're speaking this. You can't see the invisible part of you, which I can.
All right.
You've got this hesitation. I can see that clearly, but I also see your strength, and that innocence that you keep calling vulnerability is a beautiful, beautiful essence to look at.
Thank you.
But it is your truth, and that's what's shining through. Yeah, you got that hesitation, but fuck that now. It's not relevant. But no, honestly, you will shine forth, and you know that, but you've still got that because you can't see what I can see, which is pure. It's just pure. It's just beautiful innocence and magic.
Yeah.
Miracles. Yeah, it's miraculous.
Yeah.
Great.
The
But I know what you mean, Sally. I mean, so you get opened up on that level. It's like, whoa, that's such a deep, intense experience that I almost feel like I just want to go into my private space and deal with that, and just like work through that.
Yeah, it's like a real intimacy, because when you're with people, when I'm with people now, we're all one. Really, I thought we were all one. Now I can really feel it. So it's like everybody's in me, and yeah, it's intimate, and it's a new sensation.
And so it's to invite people into that space. You bring them into that space with you. You invite them into that deeper experience. And if you're in that experience, you've got you're a frequency holder. You can pull people into that. And the form of that, the words and the actions will come. You'll be guided as to how to do that. But that's why people show up to these calls. They want something. They're still seeking. They're looking for a deeper connection, and everyone's looking for their source. They don't always know it. I think they're looking for something else, but they're seeking that deep connection with source. If you have it, then you can bring them into that.
Well, it's nice to think about inviting people into it, rather than everybody is just everywhere. Yeah, inviting people in feels quite nice.
You invite them into your sacred space. So it's a sacred space.
It is a sacred space. Yeah.
And I get it. And I guess there's a part of you that says, no, that's my experience, and I want to just process this and deal with it and be the private self. And he's telling us, there are no private thoughts. So that sacred space is the space that everyone actually in their true self inhabits. That's where we all are in truth. We've just disconnected from it. So everyone is seeking that, you said the holy space. It's that, this is the holy place, the holy state that everyone is seeking. And you can help them to become finders, bring them into that state with you. So you're the way shower, you've gone a little bit ahead of them. You've gone into this experience. Now you can share that experience with them and bring them into it. And that's what your function is. That's what he's talking about. Your only function is awakening. To play your part in love's plan for awakening. Not just your awakening, it's everyone's awakening.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to summarize number 6?
It's so funny when you say that. It's like we go on a little journey, go everywhere, and then you bring us back to like, so what's that particular sentence saying? Got to take all that we've just shared and put it back into a little sentence.
Put it into a little nugget, yeah.
Understand that joy is the function here. If I'm not in joy, then I'm not fulfilling my function. And to extend the truth, the joy, what the message is all about.
I'm perfect love's messenger today. So you just go on to your call and say, that's my function. I'm perfect love's messenger, and the message will come through me. Don't have to worry. It'll just, it'll come through.
Yeah, I know that. But I've been doing it because I've been doing it for a long time, and I've always felt like it comes through. I don't plan for the workshops or anything. I'm just open to it, and it happens. But when you've upgraded a bit or you've changed slightly, it's like, whoa.
It's because you're consciously doing it now, isn't it? That's the scary thing, I think, sometimes, because you're more consciously aware of what you are doing, whereas before you just allowed it just to happen.
Yeah.
And if I was Jono, I would have said, just say the last sentence like, peace is in my happy face. If you read that last.
Well, this is quite a nice, before the thing starts, if you need a bit of reminding, just read this. I'm perfect love's messenger today. I bring its happiness to all I perceive, and its peace to everyone who perceives me and sees its message in my happy face. And the helpfulness prayer is always a good one. Let me be truly helpful. So just a few lines like that. You meditate on that for a minute or two, drop into the state, and then off you go. Just happens through you.
Yeah.
The words just come. I mean, when I do these calls, there's no rehearsal. It just happens. The speaking, whatever the teaching is, just comes through, and it's very natural and flowing. Okay, so number 7, and then I think we're almost at a meditation point. So, Susie, you can read number 7.
We will prepare ourselves for this today in our 5-minute practice periods by feeling happiness arise in us according to our Father's will and ours. I will prepare myself for this today in my 5-minute practice period by feeling happiness arise in me according to my source's awareness and mine. Begin the exercises with the thought today's idea contains. I begin the exercises with the thought today's idea contains. Then realize your part is to be happy. Then I realize my part is to be happy. Only this is asked of you or anyone who wants to take his place among God's messengers. Only this is asked of me or anyone who wants to take their place among perfect love's messengers. Think what this means. Let me think what this means. You have indeed been wrong in your belief that sacrifice is asked. You have indeed been wrong in your belief that sacrifice. I have indeed been wrong in my belief that sacrifice is asked. You but receive according to God's plan and never lose or sacrifice or die. I only receive according to perfect love's plan and never lose or sacrifice or die.
Yeah. So what's he saying there?
To be prepared. And it's perfect love's the only way, isn't there? Isn't it's the only way.
Mm.
And it's still letting you know moment by moment, if there's any doubt or whatever, just push that aside because it's not true. Just keep moving forward. Knowing that love is stronger than anything. Nothing's going to happen to you. Nothing's wrong or bad. You just follow the truth of who you are.
An idea of loss and scarcity, sacrifice and death. These ideas you realize are untrue. So they don't exist anymore in your reality.
It's very weird that I read that, but I could feel my shoulders are tense. They're always tense. I'm always thinking about my shoulders are very tense, always tense. Yet I can read, I can laugh, I can talk, and it's like, must remember it's just all okay. Because I do feel a lot of that, and I thought it was resistance earlier, but it may just be tension. I don't know.
Well, tension is, comes from resistance, it comes from fear. So you just practice just, you just.
Yeah, I did look at an exercise. Yeah, for my shoulders, because I always feel it in my shoulders. I'm not hunched, I don't think, but don't want to be like hunchback Notre Dame, but you know what I'm saying.
What do you perceive you're carrying on your shoulders, Susie?
No, nothing now. I just think that if there was anything I wanted to better myself or something, is because I don't do exercise. I just walk and do everything as I do. But that really has been, even when I was in bed last night, I kept thinking, oh, am I hunched up? But I'm not, but I could just feel on my shoulders. And I don't even know what that is. I'm just not.
Well, it's accumulated tension. It's
Yeah.
the anxiety of the mind that then gets manifested in physical form. Your shoulders, and shoulders are common, neck and shoulders.
Yeah.
We unconsciously. So when you do the meditations, just try and you breathe and just try and really relax, drop the shoulders down, and you feel a little relaxation, a flow of energy.
I don't watch a lot, but that Dr. Mandela, I think it was yesterday or today, and I caught him and he was saying, do this. And I only just seen that video and thought, oh gosh, that's what I need. Because it is. It's just here. It's like you can really feel it here. It's
a feeling. It's not a physical though, is it? It's a feeling. So you drop into the feeling of it, the sensation of it. That's where you free it up.
It's heavy and dense, like Jono said. I think it is heavy and dense, and I think it may have been years and years of this build up, and it's just now the more I recognize it, but I am going like that more and just trying to do this a bit more so that because it feels that's what it needs. It feels like it really needs like a massage, but it doesn't really, if you know what I mean. It is just that build up of years of gunk or crap. So it's just.
So if you go and you do a Vipassana type meditation, that's going to help. So you just observe the sensation. The sensation in the shoulders, and you go into it, and you without judging it. Oh, this is bad, or you just I'm just observing it, but I'm not judging it. I'm not making it real. I just observe it, and you can breathe into it a little bit, and as you exhale, you just kind of let go and you observe, and then your awareness dissipates it. You keep doing that. You're shining the light of awareness in there. Awareness naturally dissipates the energy that's accumulated there, which you're experiencing as tension.
Yeah, I think it must be constantly that it must be,
Yeah. So you're unaware of it most of the time. So the idea is with the Vipassana, you get very aware then of how the mind manifests in the body. So the tension manifests through sort of tension in the shoulders.
Yeah.
And you just go into it and you spend a few minutes just observing. Observe that area. And if you bring awareness into it, you'll notice how the sensation changes and it dissipates. It naturally then starts to release.
I thought that's what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I've done a bit of Vipassana with you, but maybe when we do the meditation, if you like, I'll take you into a bit of a. It'll take another 5 minutes.
It's okay now. I'm aware of it. It's just that it's because I don't normally say. I just allow things just to be. But I think it was Muji the other week that I heard. It's weird. The other day I've seen that Dr. Mandel and he was doing this, and I thought everybody was there to help me. And that Muji had said, if you're feeling tension or anything, just ignore it because it's not real. Because your body's not. And then I thought to myself, no, that's a good way to look at it, but why is it still there? But then I think that's the mind now letting you know you focus on this instead of just normally not worrying about any of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, the often, I mean, just ignore it because it's not real is you know, the high level understanding of it.
Yeah.
But to actually go into it and transmute it, often a technique like a Vipassana, because you go into it, you face it, and then you just shine the light of your conscious awareness on it, and it dissipates naturally. When you just observe something without trying to fix it or change it, it naturally starts to change. It dissipates. So that's
interesting what you just said, because this morning when I was sitting down and what you just said about the body or something, what came to me this morning about the body? It was like I know I'm really grateful for everything and my body and everything. I know about the body, the mind. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've really appreciated the vessel that this is. But again, is that just the mind wanting you to wander off and talk about something else rather than focusing on the job? But there was no job. It's just what came up. Maybe that was, yeah. All right.
Yeah, well, you can, you know, the body isn't real, but it's like a vehicle. I mean, that's the most useful analogy I can think of. Is a car that's, you know, useful. It gets you from A to B. Without a car, you can't go to work, you can't go shopping, you can't, you know, have fun, go places. So it's a vehicle for transporting you and or communicating in this world. It's not just transportation; it's communication device in this world. And so you honor the device. It's just a device. It's useful. Like a car, you would service, you'd clean it, you'd, you know, make sure that it's functional. Otherwise, it's not going to serve you very well. That doesn't mean that the car is you see? That's the key thing. The car is not your identity. So the body is not your identity, but you honor it as the vehicle that's carrying you through this journey and that's allowing you to learn these lessons of the at-one-ment that you're here to learn. And so you can treat it with respect and kindness and love without making it real. That's the art of this. I know, well, I'm the body and now I pamper the body because I'm identifying with it. No, it's just I'm servicing the vehicle. You know, the vehicle needs some care, although it's not ultimately real, to serve me well. So yeah, I will treat it with respect, and if I feel like it needs some help and support, I can give it that, but don't make it real in your mind.
Right.
That's the art of it.
Thank you.
Okay, so any thoughts on number 7 you want to share, Susie?
No.
Okay. So number 8, and then I'll take you into a meditation.
Now let us try to find that joy that proves to us and all the world God's will for us. Now let me try to find that joy that proves to me and all the world what perfect love's awareness for me is. It is your function that you find it here and that you find it now. Sorry, I was going all hot. Lots of energy.
Really?
Both.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
It is my function that I find it here. Oh, it does it on the same bit again. And that I find it now. For this you came. I came for this. Ooh, really feeling it.
Really good.
Let this one be the day that you succeed. Let this be the day that I succeed. Look deep within you, undismayed by all the little thoughts and foolish goals you pass as you ascend to meet Christ in you. I look deep within me, undismayed by all the little thoughts and foolish goals I pass as I ascend to meet my true self.
Mm.
Oh, really feeling it.
So put that into words. What's the feeling like? What's it saying to you?
I just feel really hot. And it's like the words are going right through me, like I'm transparent and they're just moving through and into everything and around everything. Although these things are not things, but you know what I mean. Real transparency. It feels very, very obviously boundarylessness, but yeah, something's dissolved.
This is the day that I succeed, he says. So.
Yeah.
Day of your rebirth.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I want to swear, but I'm aware that we're recording.
It's okay, Ken. Susie does it all the time. What's the expression?
Oh, just bloody hell.
Oh, that's hardly a swear word.
Yeah, it just feels like, oh my God. But that doesn't
What?
really go with the Course in Miracles. When you say, oh my God, it takes on another connotation, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, feels something vast. Like being called to serve, called to service, something like that.
Oh. To be the light of the world. To help others awaken.
It feels like I've got nothing to hold on to now. I know that's a good. I know that's a good thing, but yeah, it just feels odd. That there's no doubt that we will succeed, but there's also nothing stable about it. Well, I know that's not really true because it is stable in that state, but the state I'm in feels unstable. Words don't quite fit. So it says try to find the joy. I don't ever like the word try, but I now find the joy. It's my function here. I came for this.
Now I find that joy.
Now I find that joy. Yeah.
So what he's saying is the seeking is over. This is the day I succeed. I don't seek anymore. I find it.
Yeah.
And I ascend to meet my true self. And as the day you become the finder rather than the seeker. And interesting that you're reading it because it's been an interesting day for you. Profound day in terms of the finding of who you really are. This is what you've been seeking your whole life. 30 years of seeking, spiritual practice in this, and then boom, there it is. Here you are.
Yeah.
As the true self that you are, the enlightened being. And ready to serve the purpose of the at-one-ment. I will fulfill my part in love's plan for awakening.
Yeah, for that, yeah. Wholeheartedly.
Whole heart, yeah. It's like I give my whole, my whole heart. Everything is for that purpose. It's a whole commitment.
Yeah.
And it's quite, that's maybe your ego is like, whoa, this is it. It's game over.
Like putting all the chips in. Yeah. Everything in.
Exactly. I'm not holding anything back now. I'm all into this. I'm 100% and more committed to this process. I'm not holding anything back. There's no little part of me that's resisting it anymore. Still trying to keep control of things. And then the ego's like, oh, that's dangerous. You're going on oh, what's gonna happen? So it's just the pushback. The feeling you're feeling is a residue of ego pushing back and going, oh, you don't want to go there because this is the end. No more me, no more controlled self that's going to manage this process and still keep it all under some kind of control of a separate self. So this is in the end, it's like the seeker has to give way, because the seeker who's trying to find enlightenment is the separate self. So that's you've been identified with that for so long, 30 years of seeking. Now it's like, no, I'm no longer the seeker. I'm the finder. I am it. I am that which I sought for all this time.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's the ego is the searcher, even though it's the ego that doesn't want to be made, got rid of. Yeah.
Seek and do not find is its program. So I'm seeking, very actively engaged in supposedly the search for salvation, for love in this world. It's trying to find something to make its self feel better, but never really wanting to find the answer. Because if it really finds the answer, then that's the end of it. What a crazy game. You seek and seek and never find the answer.
Every time I hear that, I hear it on a different level.
So now you found, it's like, okay, I'm a finder, I'm not a seeker. I know it experientially. I know this truth as me. This is my true self. I've come home. So I can just rest in that state. Let me not go back into the seeking. This is what he's saying. Now I find that joy. I experience it. I'm rooted in my true self. There's no need to go back into any kind of seeking, craving, any sadness, sacrifice, loss, these ideas. I can just stay rooted in this true self and let that live my life from this moment forward. That presence will live your life for you. Then it's not really your life anymore. You see, the idea of your life becomes a ridiculous idea. You thought it was your life, but the you that thought it was your life is not true. So it was never any personal self that owned your life. Masqueraded as, this is my life and I'm in charge, but actually it was always the spirit's life. It was always the true self underneath it. And now you're just ready to give it over and say, yes, I acknowledge that. It's the true self's life. I'm guided by the true self in all my thoughts, words, and actions. This is the Holy Spirit's perception that then will guide me, and the Christ and the Holy Spirit, the true self, and your inner guidance, if you want to use other language, is what's going to guide you from this moment forward in everything, every word, every thought, every action. And that's the rebirth. That's what you've been born into. Which is profound.
Yes.
Oh. The day, 23rd of
I'll write it in the diary. So
23rd of May is your second birthday. Yeah. Yeah. Second.
Yeah, but the date was the 23rd of the 5th, 23rd. So that's something
Oh, yeah.
more to
Yeah,
remember.
that's true. 23,
Mm.
5, 23.
Mm.
Interesting. I'm kind of interesting. I worked out yesterday. I felt inspired to finally work out what our arrangement is. So I've worked that out. I'll message you. It's like, okay, so it's like a new, it's a 1 year, almost 1 year to the day. So it's like it's an invitation into a deepening, another phase of this.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It's been a year on the program that this happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all I can say is well done, because you've actually been, I mean, the first 3 weeks was part of it, I guess, but I think on the 20th was your anniversary. So it's like, okay, yeah, from that date you committed, because the 3 weeks is like anyone can do the 3 weeks, but then you commit and you say, okay, I'm up for this. I'm paying my money. I'm in it. And then, you've just sustained. I mean, your perseverance is remarkable, because most people can't sustain this level of, every day. I mean, most weeks you're doing 4 or 5 sessions a week. It's like every day, every week consistently. And that's what's brought it about. That's what's now you've done the foundational work to allow these kinds of mystical experiences to happen. A year ago, you couldn't have had it, probably because you weren't in the right space.
Is that what you call? Is that what you call addiction to awakening? I just wondered. Is that an addiction to awakening? Because I'm not getting it.
Well, it's a deep desire, isn't it? It's something calling you, saying, yeah, this is the only thing that really matters. And it's the only thing I can really, like, if I'm going to commit to something, get obsessed about something, let me get completely obsessed. I mean, it's a word that has negative connotations, but he's asking us for a singular commitment. He's saying there is no other way. Commit 100% to this plan. That means, from the outside, well, you're obsessed with this. No, it's the only way. You recognize that this is the only way. It's the only thing that is meaningful and of value in my life. And then everything else, because everything else comes from this, like your relationships, your business, everything comes from the inner self. Who are you? If you don't even know who you are, everything is going to be false. The false self is now running your life, and everything is false. So, oh,
all in the
welcome
plan.
to the next phase of the journey.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny how it's all in the plan anyway, isn't it? It's going to happen anyway, regardless. It's just I had that feeling that every time it was 12 o'clock or 12:30 or whatever, I was moved to come on. And whenever the ego did pop up and say, oh, not today, I'm too tired, I went, got you, I'm going on.
Yes.
Every time it said I'm too busy, it was like, no,
yeah,
going.
Yeah. So that's quite a good
big difference.
That's a really good tip for anyone listening. It's like, do when you catch it and you can notice it, then just do the reverse. It's so simple. Okay, I notice it, I got you, I see, and then you do the opposite of what it's asked you to do. And then you're listening to the spirit, because the spirit's always opposite to the ego. So it's kind of you do it in reverse. It's another way.
I was listening to the ego at first, because the ego would say, go take the dog for a walk. Oh, 2 hours is enough. Off you go.
I remember,
and I know you were
remember.
laughing. But then gradually it was
like, oh no, an hour and a half. Sally's hit her max, right? You got to move.
Really good. Just go on, just one more paragraph. Go on, just one more. And you're just really good at that. That really works. Because most of us say, yeah, all right then, just one more then. And then you get past that barrier, and then you go a little bit further, and yeah, it really works.
And you realize actually you can sit for hours, because what's stopping you? Why can't you sit for hours and just be in the frequency? It's like, we've been going since 1:30, so 3 hours now, 3 hours 20 minutes, something like that. But is there any better use of your time? You're in this divine energy. It's like you're learning, you're growing, you're processing. Is there any better use of time than that? This is how to accelerate the journey. To go fast, you go slowly. You go and you spend this time, and then in action, because you're so connected and the spirit is guiding you, it's like you're on the autobahn, you're in the fast lane, the sattva. I talked about, tamas, rajas, sattva at some point. So tamas is the slow lane, that's inertia, very blocked and resistant. Rajas is the stressing, straining, striving program of the ego, saying, right, I'm going to go seek for some kind of salvation in the world. And those people make stuff happen, but if they carry on, they usually burn out, because it's a very resistant way of working. And then sattva is the knowledge. That's like the autobahn. You're going at 250 k's an hour on the autobahn, and it's effortless because the vehicle is designed for that. These big luxury German vehicles are designed to go cruise at 250 k's an hour. And there's no stress. It feels very natural and very guided. But you've had to upgrade yourself from the sattva, from the rajas. You were in a rajas energy when you came on, seeking, trying to make stuff happen. And it's like the shift from rajas to sattva is what's happened over the last year. So now you're in the knowledge, and that will make you go so much faster in your life, because there's no resistance anymore, and you can cruise at these high speeds. And people go, how do you do it? Well, because I'm not doing it. It's the spirit that's doing it all. It's a higher octane fuel, and the vehicle's been upgraded from whatever you were driving, sort of normal kind of mid-tier type car. Now you're driving a high performance vehicle, a Ferrari or Maserati or Lamborghini or something, and it's designed, it can cruise at 250 k's an hour. It's no problem, because you just upgraded yourself. So that's an analogy of what's happened, and because of that, the manifestation, the speed at which you can operate, what happens is amplified. So that's what I said in the end. To go fast, go slowly. Spend a lot of time on the practices and the meditation, and hours sitting on these calls, so that you upgrade yourself into a vehicle that is now capable of going at that kind of speed, and it's a high performance vehicle. Whereas in the middle lane, you can try as much as you like. You try and take that vehicle into the fast lane, it's not going to do too well. So it can't, because it at 250 k's an hour, it starts to stress and vibrate, and because it's not designed for that. So welcome to the fast lane.
It reminds me of how I used to put the brake on all the time. I used to have this feeling I'd go in the fast lane, and then I had this feeling like I wanted to pull the handbrake on and stop. So I'd screech to a halt and go into resistance. That's what that reminds me of. I couldn't quite allow myself to be in the fast lane continuously.
Because it feels a bit scary. It's like, wow, I'm going so fast, and everything's just happening, and I'm not really in control. But actually, the spirit is driving, and it knows absolutely really well how to drive at that speed, and it's quite comfortable. It's like putting a Formula One driver. I mean, for a Formula One driver, it's no problem going 250 k's an hour is normal, because they're quite happy to they're used to that. So it's like you've upgraded both the vehicle and the driver to a point where you can just flow and just watch what happens. There's no stressing, straining, striving anymore. It happens through you, and you'll watch how that will manifest in your life and in your business in miraculous ways in the coming days and weeks and months. So, watch this space. We look forward to hearing the stories, the miracles, because this is what it's about. It's about living it, isn't it? It's not a theoretical exercise. It's actually, what can this do for your life if you really apply these teachings? And then you become the example of what it can do. And hopefully people say, yeah, I want some of that. Great. Yes, okay. I'm up for that. The question is, how much do you want it? Because are you willing to do the work then? So it doesn't just happen because you committed systematically to doing this work. Okay, so next one, number 9. Susie, if you can read that for us.
You will be there. You just
Yeah, that'll be the same.
will it? Okay.
It will be there, yeah. It will be
Oh,
there. And I can reach it now. Just read it in the alternative.
all right. It will be there, and I can reach it now. What could I rather perceive in place of my true self that waits for me to become aware of it? What little thought has power to hold me back? What foolish goal can keep me from success, from pure formless awareness of perfect love itself calls to me? You're not shitting yourself by now, Sally? I don't know what you're doing. There's some really good messages for you today. Well, first all, but
so what's he saying there in summary?
What is it we perceive when all there is true self? Allow yourself to really be in that awareness. It's not even allowing, is it? It's just to be there, isn't it? To be in that awareness and know that true self has got your back regardless of anything, what you're thinking, feeling. There's no other power apart from the true self. But I guess it's that allowing and that receiving and not to fight it anymore.
Yeah, what foolish goal can keep me from success? Pure formless awareness of perfect love itself calls to me. And so these foolish goals, these idle wishes, expectations that we think this is going to work, something on the level of form, saying nothing else is going to work. It's this awareness only that's going to work. This is what's calling you to be one with it. And you can reach it now. It will be there and I can reach it now. Okay. Number 10.
My go. He will be there. It will be there. You are essential to his plan. I am essential to its plan. You are his messenger today. I am its messenger today. And you must find what he would have you give. And I must find what it wants me to give. Do not forget the idea for today between your hourly practice periods. It is yourself who calls to you today. It is myself that calls to me today. That's an interesting way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your own true self that's calling you. So it's not anything outside of you that's controlling you. It's your own true self that you've denied that's calling you to just recognize it. Hence, the rebirth into your true self. You now identify with that, you become it, or you're reborn as the true self into the world.
I love that. It's like your own love story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is the hero's
Mm.
journey, yes, to
Mm.
find yourself, know thyself.
Mm.
Who are
Falling in
you
love with
really?
ourselves. Yeah.
Who are
Mm.
you really? Beyond all the ego's bullshit and nonsense and stories, and that's, you know, that's the universal need. Everyone is looking for their true self. Who am I really?
Yeah.
So if you found that, you know, you become the agent in the world who can teach people through your own true self what that true self is, how to find it. So you are essential to perfect love's plan for the awakening, because it needs people who found their true self, who've awakened to that, to teach others to awaken to it. And so it will use you to, you know, for that purpose. This is your function as in love's plan for awakening.
And for me, it's like falling in love. I feel like I've fallen in love.
Yeah.
You know, not with a physical person, but you know.
Yeah. There's that great Whitney Houston song. Maybe you should listen to it. The greatest love of all. It's the greatest love of all.
Oh, nice, Jono. Continue.
Oh, no, my voice is, my singing voice isn't good.
That's a really wicked song. That is fantastic song, by the way.
Because there's a truth behind this. The
Beautiful.
greatest love of all is to find yourself. That's what she's pointing to. It's ironic because she never did. You know, she died as a drug addict and she never found it. But the source comes through in that song, saying this is the greatest love of all. And in fact, it's the only love. You know, because there's no other love. Every other form of love is false. It's a substitute for that. And so to truly love yourself means that you are yourself. Your identity, you know, that there's no longer a split self. I love myself. It's I am that self. That self is love. I am the loving self. I am loving awareness. There's a unity there, and then the power of that unity is extraordinary because you express that into the world, and it is going to manifest itself through you in miraculous ways. And that's a very inspiring journey. That's the inspired and inspiring life that we all want. And you're in it and you're living it. It's so just embrace it moment by moment. No room to fear, no room to doubt. The self is now in charge. I've come home. I have the certainty and the peace and the love and the joy that everyone is looking for. You have what the world is looking for. The most valuable, the pearl of greatest price, yes, you'll call it. You have it.
Yeah, that's good.
And now your job is to give it away to everyone else. To help them have it too. Okay, so any other thoughts, comments, questions on that lesson? It's a good one.
All of me loves all of me.
Oh. Mm.
That's what you've come to, though, ain't you? By this conclusion, if there was one.
Mm.
And everyone is me. You know, I am in everyone and everyone is me, because that self is the true self of everyone. They just don't know it yet. Most people don't know it. But it's in there, and you know, if I can help them awaken to that, then we unify in that self. And then we are fulfilling our function, because our only function here is to wake up to our true self ourselves and help others to awaken to it. That's love's plan for awakening. And then we join Yeshua in this great plan of the at-one-ment. We become his agents on earth. We become the Christ in action. Very useful, because now we have bodies. We have the ability to act and to speak. And the self can use that for its purposes in the world very well. But yeah, the Sally character has to go, because the Sally character's got no room in there. There's no place for her anymore. But she was never real anyway. Yeah, she was just a hallucination. So you can lay her aside and go, thank you. It's all part of the journey, but it's no longer needed. Okay, so would you like to do a meditation on this?
I think I will go onto YouTube and listen to it, if that's all right.
Okay.
I'll leave you with
go for a walk.
Yeah, but I'm doing all right. It's 4 hours later than usual. Yeah, I used to go for a walk at 2 o'clock. I'm just going to go for a walk at 4
sit with it for 20 more minutes and then do your dog walk.
All right. All right. Yeah, I know the game.
I'll take you into a deeper, it'll be a deeper
You take me
experience.
so deep that I won't be able to hear the dog whining. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stay.
All right. So just making yourselves comfortable into your favorite meditation posture. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you're breathing in, you're noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle, you lock the energy in, draw the energy up your spine, into your heart center. Putting one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space. Draw the energy up into the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale. And so scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, any related emotions, any body sensations going on, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. You breathe into that. And remind yourself of today's key idea. I accept my part in perfect love's plan for awakening. Just breathe that all in. So it's an acceptance. You embrace it. There's no resistance to it. There's no going against it. And say to yourself, now I find that joy that proves to me and all the world what perfect love's awareness for everyone is. Exhale as you repeat that. Have a sense of just letting go of any resistance, any blocks to the awareness of love's presence. Breathe in again. Just embrace this feeling of joy, the acceptance of your one function here. Finally, you have found your purpose. You're not seeking it anymore. It's to be the light of the world, be the pure, formless awareness of perfect love in the world. To demonstrate this for people. It's my function that I find it here and that I find it now. Say that to yourself. You exhale and repeat those words. It's my function that I find it here and that I find it now. Breathe in again. I came for this. This is the day that I succeed. Right now, not sometime in the future or the past. Right now, in the present moment, the only moment there is the day that I succeed because I accept my function. Now, I look deep within me. I'm dismayed by all the little thoughts and foolish goals I pass as I ascend to meet my true self. Say those words aloud as you exhale. Feel the rising up of your mind into your true self. It's another state of awareness. You breathe in to help you and just invite this state in, state of mind of being in your true self, one with your true self, as yourself. Nothing else to experience, nowhere else to go. Just be completely rooted in this awareness of your true self. The one self, true identity in your mind that you've been seeking your entire life. And now you finally come home and you're aware of it. And you rest in it. Confident in the knowledge that this true self is always there. It will be there, says Yeshua. Breathe in. It is here. It is here. It is here now. It is here and I can reach it now. Say that to yourself. What would I rather perceive in place of my true self? It waits for me to become aware of it. Breathe in again. What little thought has power to hold me back? Exhale as you repeat that. No little thoughts of the ego, thoughts about time and space, distance and mass, seeming differences on the level of form. None of that matters. And what foolish goal can keep me from success? When pure formless awareness of perfect love itself calls to me. Nothing can hold me back. True success is just to do the will of God. To, in other words, merge your awareness with pure formless awareness of perfect love, to be in that awareness. So go there now. Just sink into it. Go deeply into this awareness. Breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. There's nowhere else to go, and there's nothing else to do. Just be in this awareness that it is here, this presence, your true self. Say, it is here. I am essential to its plan. I am its messenger today. And I must find what it wants me to give. I must find the message it wants me to give. The message of eternal, unconditional love. We are all that love. So I cannot forget my idea for today. Practice it every hour, Yeshua recommends. Hourly practice for 5 minutes to just dip into this sacred place in your mind. Place that's been calling you for your entire life. And in fact, for all of time. Is myself that calls to me today. And it is myself I answer. Every time I tell myself I am essential to perfect love's plan for the awakening of the world. Exhale on the truth of that. And sink into this awareness, deeper awareness of yourself, who and what you really are, as the source of all existence, source of all being, of all life. This is who you are. This is what you are. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still. Any thoughts arise, foolish ideas seem to block this awareness. Observe them casually observe them with your true awareness. Breathe in, so you're breathing in the light of this true awareness. And in that light, you can see them as these quite ridiculous little feeble attempts to obscure the light. They're little clouds scudding away down below, but you are lifted up, ascended into the light. You're flying high and soaring in the blue sky. And no clouds can affect that awareness in any way. It's just pristine blue sky, completely clear, no clouds. It's brilliant sun shining through it. Blow away the clouds, the breeze of your breath into the nothingness they really are. No idle wishes, cravings, seeking outside yourself anymore. Salvation, when it's in you already, just sink inwards to the truth, pure formless awareness, perfect love, the blue sky that we call it. Whatever you want to call it, it's there. And so just gently coming back from this deep awareness, bring your mind back into an awareness of the body's senses, the breath. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause. Stay on your mind, notice any thoughts, any emotions, related body sensations, particularly anything that feels at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. And you're just going to blow those out. Let go of them like dark clouds, leaving you, blowing away the breeze of your breath and the nothingness they really are. On the lower stomach into the spine. So on the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose as you breathe in again. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind in which there's no attachment to anything. Just is, things happen, they arise, and they pass away. Without any attachment, they have no meaning, they have no reality. So they just come and they go like cloud patterns, they blow away. And you remain rooted in your true awareness. This is the true self, the Christ, in Course in Miracles terminology, that you are in truth, the one self that you have been seeking for your whole life. And now, today, you have found it. You are here in this holy state, sacred state. And you can take that with you, carry that with you for the rest of the afternoon, the evening, and on into that, indeed, your entire life. So stay rooted in this awareness, set the intention to stay here. Say, I am love. I am perfect love, if you prefer. Say that 3 times to yourself. So, I accept my part in love's plan for my awakening today. Every moment, I can accept my part, allow this loving awareness, my true self, to think and speak and act for me, and to let me fulfill my part in the plan through its guidance. So you have to do nothing. So just anchor into this awareness, set the intention to stay here for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Use today's lesson to top you up frequently. Ish recommends 5 minutes every hour. You can listen to one of the breath breaks I've sent you, or follow the written instructions posted in the Telegram group or in my email. And you just stay there, stay connected to this source for the rest of the afternoon and evening. So it is said, so it is done. On the count of 3, open your eyes. They're still closed. Look around, just notice from this state of awareness what the world looks like. Notice any object for a few seconds. Notice how peaceful your perception of it is. Just underlying peace is what this awareness brings. Look at something else. And again, it's something else. Do that for half a dozen objects. Scan your mind just randomly over anything and notice that it's the same awareness. No matter what object you're looking at, no matter what person you see, what experience you're having, it's all really the same. And that's when you come into the experiential understanding that it is yourself, your true self, that is the answer. And this is playing your part in love's plan for awakening by identifying with, claiming this true self, the Christ in you. this true self then will inspire your thoughts and your words and your actions to be very helpful to others. And so it is. Well, that brings us to the end of the meditation. So, Susie, would you like to do some of the text?
Not got long, to be fair, if I'm honest with you, Johnny. How many you got? Have you got quite a bit?
Yeah, so look at the text. It's called The Two Emotions, and it's about 9 paragraphs, I think. Let's have a look. 7, 8, 9, 10. It's quite a long one. 11 paragraphs. So you can read it on your own. I'll send you the document. I'll resend it. Stay and do a couple of paragraphs if you want. Could just look at the exact summary.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. Yeah. I fell asleep that time. I think I did.
Well, you fell asleep during the meditation?
Yeah, I don't normally do that now. It's But weird how you get up right at the, because I was mindful of that pain, but I did some shoulder rolls. That helped before I did anything. But now it's all in my back. It's my lower back. It's weird.
Changing. Shifting into other areas. So you see that the pain is just an expression of the mental tension.
Yes.
The resistance to truth. It brings pain. So the more you let go of that.
I always sit in meditation with it because I just let it just be, because I know I can still sit here. I don't want to move or anything. It doesn't make me in that way, but I'm and then when I heard Moody say that just stay focused, but yeah, weird.
Okay, shall we look at the personalized executive summary then?
Yeah.
Let me just put some lights on because it's getting rather dark here, as you can see. All right, so personalized executive summary of this year's section 5, chapter 13, section 5, called The Two Emotions. It's all about love and fear, contrasting them. So this is a personalized executive summary, kindly done by ChatGPT. I didn't write it, but you give it the inputs. I gave it the personalized.
Interesting.
Well, otherwise, yeah, it is. It produced, well, it's pretty good stuff. You read it. So, yeah, if you want to read the summary, I experienced two emotions.
I experienced two emotions, love and fear. Love is unchanging and shared among the eternal, while fear takes different forms within personal illusions. These illusions created a private world with no shared meaning. The figures I see are not real. They are projections of my own reactions. I have attacked others based on these distorted perceptions. The delusional isolate themselves in disordered private worlds, unable to recognize reality.
Well, you could change that a bit. So, but it's pretty good, eh? This was an
Yes,
AI.
it is. It's kept it short for you as well, really, to be fair.
Well, I gave it the instruction. I said,
Yeah.
do them under in 200 words or under.
How did it feel giving a robot instructions, Jono?
Oh,
It's the way you just said,
like
I gave you
it's
instructions.
almost like you're instructing a copywriter or something.
Yeah.
You just do it in normal English. You say, okay, well, take this and summarize it in under 200 words. Use the first person, and you can even tell it to do it in a certain tone. I could say, well, make it more conversational, and it could do that. It's like a copywriting service. Pretty good to say, because this would have taken me to write this, I don't know, an hour probably, because you got a summary, and summary is quite a hard thing to do. It takes, like,
Yeah.
okay, so I got to put everything in the whole thing into a a concise summary of 200 words. And what do you put in? What do you leave out? That's the question. Because it's all good stuff. What he's saying. So it's quite a skill. Well, it does it pretty well. Instantly, like, okay, there you go. And 30 seconds later, it's typed it out, and you've got your summary. So, it's always useful to read the whole thing, but if you can't, then you read the summary, and you get the essence of what he's saying in the whole section.
Yeah, I do like the summaries because I seem to get it better that way. Sometimes it's too much text,
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's the power of this technology, because it just saves so much time. I'm working with a guy who's can even record meditations and stuff. So I give it my voice. I say, right, here's a few hundred hours of sampling of how I speak and how I give meditations, and then I give it a script which it can help produce, and then it can record a meditation on, like, the whole lesson, for instance. So then instead of it taking me an hour to record that, probably 2 hours, because then I've got to clean it up, and it's like, okay, it's done. Amazing, really. So we'll see, but we'll see where this. But I'm exploring it because I'm only, I'm one person. I don't have money to employ anyone at the moment. So you've got to use the tools available to try and bring, well, really more valuable resources to you, to my members. So anyway, that's just part of the process of doing this. So the figures I see are not real. When I'm delusional, I isolate myself in a disordered private world. Sometimes, like that maybe needs a bit of, because I put it in the first person. And I'm unable to recognize reality. And think of times when you really go into ego and it's doing its thing. It does isolate you, and it puts you in a disordered private world, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Unable to recognize reality. You get confused about yourself, about reality, and it feels very, well, that's not a nice feeling, is it? You feel disconnected, you feel abandoned, you feel lost, you feel afraid, you feel lonely, you feel scared, confused.
You want the next paragraph? In my private.
Well, I think if you can summarize this, that would be nice. What's he saying here?
That there are two emotions, and yet I never looked at love as an emotion, but yeah. How one is full of illusion and one is the truth. And how
the consequences of the one, of the first one.
Yeah.
Create a private world with no shared meaning. So it isolates us. puts us into this private world of private thoughts where we feel like we're separated from other people and there's no shared meaning. So I interpret the world according to my private thoughts and my private separate self. That disconnects me from others. I feel isolated, separate, alone. It all feels it feels very unpleasant.
A lonely, cruel
Yeah.
world, isn't it? If you live in that world,
No,
because
a
you
disordered private
attack it.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that's the world you've lived in for a lot of your life.
Mm.
Now you've got to come into the real world, which is the shared world of true meaning, where the truth and true reality underpins it, and accept only that as yourself and as your reality.
In my private world, I react to love and fear as if they were each other. I've invited fear into my life, overlooking the love offered by others. This retreat into insanity blinds me from perceiving my true self and reality. That's very true, because you can't shift it. You really, when you're in that state, when you're in that ego state, you just cannot see it, can you? You can't shift that perception. It can be really difficult to shift and change.
Yeah, very. You get lost
Yeah.
in this disordered private world, disconnected from yourself, unable to recognize reality, and you're blind. He says you're blind and you can't see. Open the eyes of the blind. This is what he means. You still have your physical senses, but your thought system has blinded you to the truth of who you are and what reality is. You see, the two are conjunctive. So I can only see reality when I know who I am. My true self, shows me reality. Then I perceive correctly. My false self puts me into this disordered private world where I'm unable to recognize reality. And then I blindly seek. I seek and seek for some kind of salvation in that disordered private world, trying to find my way out of the insanity. And I'll never succeed as long as I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm not looking to myself and going within, and I'm looking outside for a solution, then it maintains the disorder. My disordered private world continues. I'm unable to recognize reality, and I don't even know who I am. It's extraordinary. See people, parents, and they're growing old, and they don't even know who they are.
No.
They don't know who they are, and they're 80 something. It's extraordinary. You've lived your entire life as a false self, and you still believe in that. And this is the way most people live. Born into a body, into a false personal identity. They then get taught by the world to attach to it, and that this is them. And then the story is very sad, because that personal self will fade. It's going to age. It's going to fade in its power, and in the end, it's going to expire. It's going to die, and that's it. That's the end of the personal self and its journey. And then we try and make sense of that. We try and go, well, there's some meaning in this human, so-called human life, where we're born. We grow up, we learn the ways of the world, we struggle, we suffer, we die. There's some meaning in that. We try and find meaning in the personal self. And Yeshua's saying to us, you'll never find it there. You'll never find true meaning there, because it doesn't exist there. You can look and seek within that construct of the false self and the world all you like, but you'll never find it. So far better to withdraw from insanity, go into the true self, deep in your mind, and as its presence there.
Should I offer this insanity to my source? No, because the source seeks to release me from limitations and welcomes unity. by renouncing insanity, recognizing love in myself and others, and embracing pure formless awareness of perfect love, I draw others towards the shared reality.
Yeah, so what he's saying in the lesson, your part, I accept my part in perfect love's plan for awakening. So being restated here, renounce insanity, recognize love in myself and others. That could be and embracing pure formless awareness of perfect love. I draw others towards this shared reality. I show them that there is this shared reality. There is this real world. We share a world of love and peace and joy. And I invite them into that world. I invite them into my reality.
Yeah.
Okay.
So true perception relies on pure formless awareness of perfect love. Limited awareness distorts perception, but relinquishing it allows for true vision. Dreams fade as pure formless awareness of perfect love emerges, enabling truthful perception.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Saying the truth's right in front of you in the now with the awareness of perfect love. It's not limited. Yet if we don't follow the truth of who we are, it's all limited. It's a distorted perception. And that's what fades our true vision.
Dreams fade away as pure formless awareness of perfect love emerges. Enabling my true perception. So we personalize it as well. So I'm just so you know what I'm doing, I'm translating this into alternative language and personalizing it. So it becomes in the first person.
Yeah.
Which I think makes all the difference. I was doing there was a translation into third person, and then I was doing another one into first person. I was like, that's just too much. There's too much in one. Then you got to read the third person, then you got to read the first person, then you've got two versions of the translation and a summary. So it's like, okay, so there you've got the translated version, first person singular, as opposed to third person, and the traditional language versus the alternative language. And then I stick this 11 paragraphs of translated first person into ChatGPT and say, give me a summary in under 200 words, and it produces this. So I think we've got a way, like even if we don't have time to study the whole thing, because to do 11 paragraphs, that's going to take 4 hours. We could read.
And depending, because that's what, and the way it hits you sometimes when you're doing it live, it's quite deep stuff. Sometimes you're just processing, or it takes a lot of your time, really, doesn't it? So I think this is a good idea, to be fair.
Yeah, so you can read. I'm not saying don't read the whole thing.
Oh no, yeah.
Depth in that, but take the summary, and this is the essence of what he's saying in this section. Personalized. So now, like, to close the session, we could do a personalized meditation on this, where I ask you to repeat it out loud, and there you've got hopefully the very essence in half an hour, 40 minutes, how long the session lasts, of the text.
Physical eyes are not required for vision. Within me, the vision of my true self, illuminated by pure formless awareness, exists. Those who perceive this rise to their source and understand the beauty within them.
Yeah, so let's personalize it. As I perceive this, I rise to my source and understand the beauty within me.
Wait there,
Uh,
right.
but pretty good for an AI. Just wrote it. I'm quite impressed with what it does. It seems to be pretty good at summarizing, because it can take all of that information and then it can work out how to summarize it much more quickly than a human can.
Yeah. But like you said, that's the beauty of it, because some people that is talking about them are saying that it will do everything itself, but your difference was that you're putting the information in it for it to.
Yeah, well, it can't. I mean, you have to input. It can't just produce stuff. It's like anything, what garbage in, garbage out. It's what you input. The quality of the instructions you give it to determine, what it's going to output. So it's still like any program, traditional computer programming. You have to program it and tell it what to do clearly, otherwise it's not going to do it. This just you can tell it in normal language, and then it can translate that into actions, which means it's much more human. You don't have to write it in code. You just tell it, okay, this is what I want you to do, and then it somehow I don't understand exactly how it works, but it miraculously figures it out, and it's like, okay, how does it do this? I think even the coders, the people who've started it, because they create a program which essentially iterates and learns from itself. So it's like continuous, and then they're like, wow, look at what we've created seems to have its own intelligence, and it can actually learn, and it can seem to grow, and we've started this thing going. It is like an intelligence, like a sentient being. Quite extraordinary, but it can still only respond to the instructions we give it.
Yeah.
So you give it bad instructions, it's not going to do it. And it's not perfect by any means. Like some of the stuff, I'm like, okay, I didn't quite get that right in 100%, but if it's 80 or 90%, that's pretty good. Can work with that, and then then massage it. I'm like, okay, I'm making a few changes. So the combination of the technology and an intelligent human is powerful. It's like, okay, it's not one or the other, it's both working in combination. And if you're going to do some of what we discussed, this could be really powerful for you, because it's like having your own copywriting service, marketing agency. It can do all of that. You stick it in, and give you advice on stuff. You give it the context, and you say, look, this is my situation, this is what I'm doing. You say, give me some advice on a marketing strategy. It can actually create a plan for you like that. You don't need. So a lot of agencies, consultancies, people, they're going to be put out of business, because it's just like, well, you can just go to the AI and it can probably do a better job than them. You give correct inputs, because it knows a lot more than them. It's not as
somebody
limited.
Somebody in our group, she does it. She says, you'll be silly if you don't use it. She says, you don't need all that data, it's wasting time on data. So if you just import everything that you want, so it makes a lot of sense of what you're saying.
Yeah, it saves you time, and it helps. It's like another person in your business. You're using it. It's like, okay, well, I would have had to employ another person or two and pay them. Well, you don't. It's free, or if you want the paid version, it's $20 a month, which is extremely cheap for kind of functionality you're getting. So, I mean, this is the way we say, AI is changing. This is the way it's going to change things.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not scared of it. I think it should be embraced.
Mm.
It's another way. I mean, spirit can use everything. This is another way that the spirit can work and use this technology to get its message out. And that's exactly, what it's doing. I input the stuff. It
But I
produces
guess the
content.
world of learning through, well, knowing that you're following your own guidance is that becoming a big thing now? I mean, they say people are awakening, but is it becoming a big thing where people are just totally losing it, or is it something that is coming back? Because obviously it's so easy to get distracted for people and not use their own guidance, their own.
Yeah, I think I mean there is an awakening, no doubt, going on. People are looking for solutions. They're looking for answers. They always have, but I think the
Yeah.
world we've created from the ego is particularly insane. And people are not finding the happiness and the peace that they yearn for. It doesn't matter how much technology we invent, and it still comes down to can you find yourself? Who are you really in all this? So you could use AI and misuse it easily. It's just like anything else, it can be misused. From an egoic perspective, you put ego in, you're going to get ego out. It's gonna there are some stopgaps, apparently. Like if you say create an atom bomb or something, it won't do that. It's various programming they put in to try and stop it from being misused. But it's like anything, whatever the intent of the user is, that's what it's going to come back for. So if it's being used by the Holy Spirit to produce personalized executive summaries of text that makes it easier for people to understand what this profound text is saying, then that can only be a good thing. Now, I could write this, but it would take me easily an hour to write a summary like this. So it's a time to do it. Anyway, so yeah, in summary of that, overall, what's the key takeaway? What's he saying in this section then?
To look at the truth of who you are and not the illusion. And you really are told in good ways of the difference. If you are isolating yourself, if you are living in a private world, you're going you're following the wrong way, and it's not about being in a private world where everything's, like you said, private before. It is being unity. We're all one and that we're all the same.
Yeah, Sally used a nice analogy. It's like one blanket covering all of us.
Yeah.
And then these figures pop up, seemingly have individual figures under the blanket, but it's the same blanket, and we're all covered by it, nurtured by it, protected, kept warm, kept safe by this one security blanket of source. And if we acknowledge that as our source, and that this is the source of our sanity, the source of peace, happiness, joy, security, sustenance in this world, it can sustain us in this world and can provide the resources we need to survive, then would there be any conflict? If we acknowledged only the one source, everyone was on that same page, that same, connected to the same source, how could there then be disagreement? One function, one source, one purpose unites the mind in the unity that it speaks of. Rise to my source and understand the beauty within me. Oh, it's nice. That's we saw that in Sally's experience. She rose to source today, really had that awareness of her true self, a rebirth experience, and then understands the beauty within me. extraordinary. It's a sacred place, a sacred self. And if you acknowledge it in yourself, then you can see it in others. Because everyone has it. It's just buried. Most people, it's buried. So when someone awakens to it and it shines through in this world, then that's to be celebrated, and others can learn from it.
And we do, don't we, when we're all in it together.
Yeah. We all are. So there's only really one of us awakening to oneself.
Yeah.
One mind seemingly fragmented into billions of separate parts, trillions actually, because it's not just humans, it's all forms, it's animals and plant life. Anything that seems to have a separate form in this world is a fragment of the one mind, but actually it's still one. Doesn't matter what the fragmentation seems to be, what personal identification it's invented, what the form of it is, it's still the same self. So it's one mind awakening to the one identity of itself, and that's the plan for awakening. Today's lesson refers to. We all come back into that one mind, identify with the one self, and then there's no need for a separation anymore. The universe of separation will just disappear. There's different forms living out their seemingly separate lives, going their separate ways, is really not required anymore. There's no purpose to it.
Only they taught this at school. Honestly.
Yeah, but they taught this at school, then they're undoing the very system they're trying to train you to participate in, aren't they? Because they're training you to be a good citizen.
Has to be mentioned for young ones as well, that consciousness, even if you use the word every now and again, or I guess they're doing it better by saying mindfulness, because that helps, but
well, mindfulness is a start, but if you the reason why the ego is resistant to this is if you start down that journey, in the end it leads to the complete liberation from the ego. The ego's gone. The entire world is gone, and the construct of the mind that is this world simply disappears. Well, that's not what school is training you for. It's training you to be a good citizen in this world. Not to free yourself from it. So again, it goes against the purpose of fundamentally you have to ask, well, what is education for? Is it to make you a more functional, separate self in this world, because that's what the current education system
well it's a pity, because I know there's been a few students, I know a few that have struggled, because even my son, he's 4 years into his nursing, mental health nursing, but he says, I don't want to continue, I don't want to do it. And I says, look, just finish the course and we'll worry about the rest later. But he just says they make out that they care and they value Mum, but they don't. They're just making it, and then they oust you out. I mean, it's good that he sees this. I think the awareness in the younger ones is fantastic, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think they see the system is broken, and it's a fraud, and because it's based on
and then
the
you got
ego, it's all a fraud.
And then you got another one going on about education, and I don't want to do it. Nearly into they're into their last years or last modules or whatever, and they just don't. And it's not because of what they've been learning; it's the way that they've been taught it, and the way that, like he says, he's one of the he says it as it is. I'm afraid, just like me, but and it's not going down well at all, and they just don't like it, and I mean, to be fair, he's been working in care homes and Alzheimer's and dementia and all sorts since he was 18. He's 25 now. And he never used to have any issues going out to work or anything. It's only since he went into university, and they've made, he has all these fit for work. So they've obviously had him in, and he's told me he's on some kind of some mood stabilizers or something, and I thought to myself, I don't like the sound of this, but do you know what, he's doing good the way he's doing it, because he's already made up his mind he'll do this and he doesn't want to continue with it. But I do I don't know what they're playing at, and especially when you stick up for yourself and say things, and then they oust you out. They want you out. They want you to play their game, and if you don't play their game, you're ousted. You're out.
Yeah, well, that's the ego. Right?
Oh yeah,
And
of
what
course, of course.
you see then is that, that what Yesh was saying, there's two emotions, there's two thought systems, love and fear, and they will not agree. They don't reconcile. You can't reconcile them. So a system based on fear, if someone comes in with a loving awareness and says, no, this isn't right, then the system will try and oust them, because the system knows that the love that that person represents is going to undo the entire system. Destabilizes the whole system of control. So we look at integral model quickly. Let's go back here.
It's just a shame because it's something he always wanted to do, but I just said, but it's
not wasted. So
no, I know.
How do you take what you've learned and then you change it and you make it into an inspired purpose?
Yeah.
Now, really, genuinely, the love that he feels is missing in the current broken system, he can allow that to come in and express through him.
They're very much on their own very much on your own when you work for government or anything, because I've seen so many do that. I see one in nursing, I see a couple in teaching. I just feel for them. But yeah, if they can do it.
Maybe he could become a private carer. He could market himself and say, look, I've got the qualifications, but I'm available to come into your home and help you. And, he charges private rates and he does it as he wants. He doesn't have to fit into their system. So there are ways, and having the training isn't a bad thing, because at least he knows how it works and he's got some qualifications, so that now he can then evolve it. And and
it's a shame that he said he was working with, he had placements. That's what's letting him down at the minute. He's got to put his hours up with these placements, and they put him in with 14 to 18-year-olds. And I says, how are you doing? And he says, they just don't want to know, Mum. They're just glued to the screens. And I says, right. And then he rang me and says, I'm not looking forward to it. And I says, remember, you were that age, so let's just have a bit of compassion and a bit of empathy. Doesn't mean you've got to be with them. That this is not the age you want to work with. But he did say it's tough because they're doing what they're told, and they're just on screens completely all day, and they don't even want to listen to any help or anything that you want to give them. And I says, well, at least that that's not the niche market you want. But yeah, it's we don't know the art because we're not in it now.
Well, maybe what I'd suggest, if he's open to it, maybe we do a coaching for him, and I can maybe help him to see another way, so he can take what he's got and find another way to use it. He's obviously passionate about the caring. Find a way to use it in an inspired way that expresses the love that's within him. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't have been attracted to do it. And then he won't feel like it's a waste. It's all part of his journey of
I think he knows that he just wants to get away with it now and just have some time out. And I think that's what they need, because he's done it all through COVID, and he had a lot of messing around at COVID, and I was really not impressed. But because they're in the 20s, you can't fight for them or tell them. They've got to do it on their own, haven't they?
They made them take the vaccines, didn't they?
Oh yes, he did, and he refused to take. He only took one because he was in and out of hospitals helping out. But and that's not very nice. Can you imagine how many people, now that more and more truth is coming out about the vaccines, more and more people are going to have this inner conflict within themselves as years go by, because they're going to know that they were, it's a sorry. I'm glad where I am at the minute. Struck me along, to, I guess when you've been following whatever yourself, doing it on your own. And that's why, like you say, when you find things like this, it's great because it really does support you. But boy, I don't know what to.
Well, there's a lot of if people have taken it, they need to just let it go, forgive themselves, and trust that if they they give it to the spirit, that whatever damage is seemingly being caused can be undone. There's nothing that the spirit can't heal. So it's all okay. Just don't carry on in that false thought system, taking more booster shots and whatever. I mean, they've sort of, the whole thing's just subsided. It's gone into nothingness, hasn't it? It's quite extraordinary. It's not even on the news anymore. There's no stats being shown. It's like it was like this ego madness that gripped the planet. Everyone got totally obsessed by this thing for 2-3 years, and then it's just, oh, okay, we'll move on now. Even though it's probably still going, people are still getting it. It's like it's bizarre. It just shows you it's all about perception, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We perceive things. So okay, so it's still going on. People are probably still getting it, but it's just not being made a big deal of anymore. So it's no longer considered like, oh, this is really scary, because we don't perceive it as such. Isn't it interesting?
It is. It's all
Perception.
Right, I'm gonna have to shoot, Jono, because I've got to be out again in about half hour. So
yeah, okay. Well, that was a good session. Thanks for staying till the end and doing a bit of the text. Personalized exec summary. So read it tonight. I'll post the updated document on the group just now. So encourage you to read it, contemplate it. There's such beauty and wisdom in these words that it's the executive summary doesn't really do full justice to it, but at least it gives you the essence of what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll see you again soon, I hope.
Yes.
Later in the week, and
All right.
Well, we'll speak soon. Let me know if you feel the urge to have another session, and
I will do.
See you when I see you. All right. Namaste.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Susie. Bye. Okay, so good session, everyone. I think that's me signing off for the day. Thank you to Jackie, Sally, and Susie for participating. And look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. If you're not a member and you'd like to join us and join these live calls, then go to theaolg.com. That's theaolg.com. If you're on YouTube, I'll post that URL in the comments box below this video. Go there and join us for next masterclass this Sunday, when you'll find out more about this program and how you can have the same kind of shifts and awakenings that if you've watched this recording, you've seen the kind of shift and change, that transformation that can happen. So hope to connect with you soon. Namaste, which means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you.